Remind me, is Harry Taylor the brother of Jack or not? Is Harry Taylor the brother of Jack or not? Hmm. Not that it's not critical to anything. Just I've got a few. Because they're both. Jack Taylor's brother was at Barnet. And they don't.
Correct.
Correct, yeah.
Jack is Harry's younger brother.
Jack is the younger brother.
Jack is the
Yeah.
younger brother. Yeah, by about 13 months.
Fair enough. Another good evening to any early birds listening. One more preview to radio to come. After that, Steve Gibbs and myself, Rob Worrell, will get underway with our commentary for this evening. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are around the country and around the world. Whether you're listening on the BBC Surrey Sport online, on the BBC Sport app, or possibly National League TV as well, which will be taking this commentary. I do not know if they're on air yet, probably unlikely. If Graham or Steve or anybody that's listening in at the moment, and that's Steve Brett, by the way, not Steve Gibbs alongside me, if any of you are watching the National League pictures as well, I'll be really grateful for a little nudge when the microphones and the live pictures go live on NLTV, because it would be lovely to say hello and welcome people at that point. I never know when it is. I know there are one or two listeners out there who like to get the TV pictures and see if they can marry it up with the radio commentary. We've got a good morning, Rob, here, where it's Wednesday already in New Zealand. That's from Phil Disbury, who's about to start work and he's listening in. Phil, if it's Wednesday morning already in New Zealand, could you let me and Steve know what the result was, please? Sorry, you're probably used to jokes like that, but thank you for tuning in, Phil, and I'm pleased it is the morning for you and not the middle of the night. Is anybody listening anywhere in the world in the middle of your night? Respect you if you are. Phil Disbury has replied with a very optimistic. He said the final score tonight was Aldershot 3, Southend 0. You never know. You might as well put it out there, Phil. If you're going to go for it, go big. I'm sure everybody here of red and blue persuasion would take any kind of victory, however it came and whenever it came. And of course, there is a BBC Essex commentary of Aldershot against Southend tonight as well. So if you've tuned into this one and you want a slightly more Southend leaning commentary, then you might want to go back to your choices and choose BBC Essex. That said, I will, of course, as always, try and call it as we see it. I know Steve alongside me will. 11 minutes from kick-off. Probably some 4 or 5 minutes away from our last preview to radio. Some interesting other games in the National League tonight. A couple of particular note. Rochdale against Chesterfield, a battle of two of the in-form sides in the National League. And Chesterfield, of course, at the moment already have a 5-point lead at the top. So to coin an Aaron McLean phrase, they'll probably take some shifting now. And I think another interesting match tonight is Ebbsfleet against Dorking, because both sides are decimated with injury, and I know that Mark White's men have managed to get 15 out tonight. I did have a little exchange with him and Ross McNeely just to see if either of them had named themselves in the squad, but they hadn't. Ross was particularly disappointed not to make the final 15. But yeah, Ebbsfleet, I think some, not excuse, I'm trying to think of the word, what do they call those mitigating circumstances for their 6-goal defeat up at Altrincham on Saturday. Steve, are you ready to join in with some chat or not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Okay,
Let's.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, I was just thinking the final preview to radio is going to come very close to kick-off, so we may as well get going. We know we're on air. Welcome again to any listeners that have joined us since Stephen Graham. Hope there's a few more of you out there now. We're 10 minutes away from kick-off. Steve, the Southend United conundrum. We won't go into too much detail on it. If you don't know what's going on there, then you're probably not following National League football particularly. They are, as a club, in a really difficult situation. They've had 2 stays of execution. They've had 2 winding up orders. They've been given more time. They're due in court again very early in October. And of course, if they don't complete the season, any results they've been involved in will probably end up being expunged. But they are playing every game as if their life depends on it, and the same is required of any opposition playing against them.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's the worst word that I can think of, expunged. It's just horrible, because I don't think anybody knew what it meant until March 1992.
Yeah, that's right.
And then suddenly Aldershot FC's results were expunged, and it's just horrible. And if anyone doesn't know Southend's plight, then imagine Aldershot FC from about August 1990 till March 92, and we hope it doesn't end the same way. Of course we don't, but yeah, it's not looking good, and I think that the blame is, from the seasoned Southend watchers, the blame is laid fairly and squarely at the door of one man. But yeah, that's tonight, and I think Tommy summed it up exactly well. Everyone here at Aldershot wishes them well after 9:30 tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about Southend United an awful lot on the podcast. I'm involved with NL full time, and I don't know anybody that wishes any ill of Southend, and I include Aldershot and Aldershot supporters in that. I know there's a bit of largely friendly rivalry and banter that goes back a number of years to the game where the Floodlights failed here, and obviously Southend were top of the league at the time, 2-0 up, and the Floodlights failed, and then when the game was replayed, Aldershot won it, and so that kind of driven a little bit of a wedge between the two clubs. But that aside, I think there's a healthy respect, and of course there's connections as well.
There is.
Nathan Ralph, of course, the skipper, an ex-Shots player, and Mark Bentley on the management staff. A bit of a folk hero here at
definitely
Aldershot in his days, wasn't he?
Definitely, yeah. He was a superb, stylish midfielder, and of course Tommy still lives that way. And I suppose we can't have this evening without mentioning a legend of both clubs, sadly no longer with us, Mr. Chris Barker.
Absolutely.
I think, if the game is played in the way that Chris approached life, let alone a football match, then we'll be in for a good, typically English footballing spectacle this evening. But there is probably, as ever, there's more that brings us together than keeps us apart, and I think that applies to Aldershot and Southend as much as anything. So yeah, we definitely wish them well. Probably not to the extent of giving them 3 points this evening, but I think that's the least of their worries. I think their biggest fixture forthcoming is the 4th of October, and everybody of an Aldershot persuasion going back that far knows what that feels like.
Yeah, before we go any further, and I really do hope that our National League TV viewers have been able to join us at this point. I am absolutely here. That's to my producer in the background. Thank you. I just wanted to mention, Steve, the Southend fans, magnificent support for a Tuesday evening game. I don't know if there's any planned protests for this evening. If you're watching NLTV, National League TV, and you know that there is a planned protest and when and what it is, do let us know. I'm at RobShot66 on Twitter. Hopefully I'll pick up your message. But numbers wise, it's quite difficult in the murky light to see, but I would say that final section of the East Bank away to our left is very well populated, and there's at least another 70 or 80 along the open slab and in the stands, Steve. So I mean, I'd say without any fear of worry that there's at least 300 Southend fans, and it might well be upwards of that.
Yeah, it's difficult to see in the gloom and the mists of the pitch, the pitch water. Then yeah, it's difficult to see. But
thank you, Steve. They do indeed, Connor. And Southend themselves took on the bottom of the table side on Saturday. AFC filed at the time and promptly lost it 2-1. And one of their players who's unavailable tonight, Wes Fonguk, has been quoted as saying, in this league, don't make the mistake of looking at the league table before you play an opposition, because it will tell you absolutely nothing. There's no doubt about it, every team in this league on their day is capable of beating another. This evening, the Shots make one change. Barham coming in for Kwame Thomas, so that's Geordie van Stappershurf in goal, Harfield, Harries and Minoga, the centre-backs Frost and Jones, the captain, the wing-backs Glover and Widrington, Theo in midfield, not his father Tommy, Josh Stokes, 6 goals already this season at just 19, in the number 10 position behind Tolaj and Barham. And for Southend, well, we'll do the Southend lineup in just a moment, because I know you've got a lot of games to cover, but we have got a really good atmosphere building here, Connor. Southend have managed to get 3 subs on the bench again. Credit to them for that. Credit to their players, their fans and everybody involved for just keeping on going as they are in the most ridiculously difficult circumstances. We are 4 minutes away from kick-off here at the EBB. Join us live or keep updated on Connor's programme throughout the evening. Yeah, we'll keep you posted very soon. All right, Steve, back with you. Did you want to finish that point, or should we go again?
No, it's just to laud and praise the Southend fans' stoicism in the face of overwhelming adversity. And yeah, I've done the reverse journey on a Tuesday night several times. It's not fun. So yeah, credit to them for coming out. And I think mirroring the spirit that the 14 hardy players who are almost fit maybe and able to take part this evening. And yeah, I just had a word with Chris Phillips from the Southend Echo, and if anyone should know, then it will be him. But there's no protests planned this evening, so nothing.
Excellent, good work.
Although he did say unless they're 3-0 down, in which case things may change. I suggested they'll start throwing things at the floodlights. He just gave me a rueful grin at that, so well, I think the least said about that, the better.
To coin a Gav Dennison phrase, and he was my predecessor, my mentor, that's why we pay you the big bucks. And we don't, of course. Now, the teams are out, and welcome to our BBC Surrey, our BBC Sport app and our National League TV viewers. I'm Rob Worrell. Alongside me is Steve Gibbs, who's the former Aldershot Town media manager. Welcome to supporters of both teams listening and or watching. The Shots are in there, all home kit of red and blue striped shirts, red shorts and red socks. And Southend, very simply, in an all yellow strip with, I think, navy blue flashes on the sleeves. Let's get to the lineups for this evening. Geordie van Stappershurf in goal for the Shots. Ollie Harfield, Kean Harries and Haji Minoga remain the back 3 this evening. And the midfield 4, if you like, the 2 wing-backs and the 2 centre midfielders is the same as well. Left to right, Frost, Glover, Widrington and Jones. And then in front of them, Josh Stokes in the number 10 position, wearing the number 10. And in front of them, Tolaj and Barham. Barham, the only change coming in for Kwame Thomas, who drops to the bench. That's just rotation. Barham, tenacious on all occasions, and they just like to keep him nice and fresh. As for Southend, well, I mean, just to get 14 players out again is quite remarkable. They have 18 signed on, 4 are not available. Fonguk, who's got an injury now, Lomas and Adeng and Dia are injured, and Ralph, the skipper, who's coming back from injury but not deemed fit enough to be on the bench as yet. David Martin in goal, we believe Harry Taylor, Ollie Kensdale and Jason Demetriou, the centre-backs. Jack Bridge, the left wing-back, Gus Scott-Morris back in the side at right wing-back, and Noor Hussein will likely anchor behind Cav Miley back in the midfield tonight, and Ollie Coker, and then Harry Cardwell up top, he's their top scorer, and Callum Powell comes back in for Wood, who he replaced in Saturday's game. Southend lost 2-1 at home to Fylde. The Shots won 2-1 away to Boreham Wood. We're almost ready to go here at the EBB Stadium. Referee David McNamara will get us underway very shortly. The shots are kicking, as they often do, towards the open end, if you like, the community stand end at the High Street end in the first half. Southend kicking towards their own magnificent set of supporters away to our left, underneath the East Bank roof, where they'll create a great atmosphere along with the Shots fans on the other side, and on the open slab and in the last section of the stand. And I can't quite see the depths of the East Bank there, but I think there's at least 300, and it might even be nearer 400 Southend fans. Here's Widrington in midfield. Poor touch, but recovers well and plays it off of a Southend midfield. I think it might well be Cav Miley. Can't quite identify him at the moment, but it's a throw into Aldershot on halfway. Haji Minoga, scorer of a wonderful goal for the Shots. Not his first goal of the season, his second. Not bad from centre-back. He's a very good centre-back, so the fact that he can get forward and get a few goals as well is a bonus for the Shots. Here's Aaron Jones, beg your pardon, picking up the ball for a throw into Shots halfway, inside to Tolaj. It's cut out well by Miley. He'll be delighted to be back in midfield this evening. There's good work from the Southend number 28, Ollie Coker. He draws the foul from Tolaj, and it'll be a free kick to Southend, which David Martin will come forward and take. A recent signing, as was Mauro Villette. Villette on the bench along with Dan Mooney and Jack Wood. Takes it now. We're into the second minute already here at the EBB. If you just joined us late, welcome. Harfield lifting the ball forward. Barham can't beat Kensdale, but his ball forward is taken out of the air nicely by Theo Widrington. Jones plays it back to Minoga. Minoga plays it forward, and Barham's in, and he's just got a foot on it, but he has managed to nick the ball off Demetriou, but it's gone into touch. Clear skies tonight, very, very close to a full moon, but not quite. Opposite us, above the south stand. Great atmosphere in the ground for a midweek game. Very, very well populated East Bank as well. Ball lifted over the top from Minoga, and the flick on from Barham, and Tolaj is chasing with his man. He's brought down, is he? No, he's got good contact with the ball there, has Harry Taylor. Back in the side this evening after food poisoning. Before that, a suspension. In fact, I think that was his suspended game. So if he was ever going to get food poisoning, Steve, that was the time to get it.
It was, yeah, and that was an excellent challenge. Yeah, Tolaj rampaging through, but he did well to hold him off and make a clean challenge, and that was an excellent challenge. Any slight error of judgment there, and he could have been in big trouble.
Throw in to Southend, headed on by Cardwell, cleared away by Harry's up towards Barham. He's going to battle with another diminutive player in Demetriou. Demetriou, I remember, not this season, last season I think it was, scored 2 goals in the Southend 2, Aldershot 3, one at each end. There's a ball down the line. Harfield should cut that out. He does. He's caught a little bit late, but no foul given. The ball's staying in. Tolaj is battling away well with Kensdale. I beg your pardon, with Taylor, and it breaks free, and Kensdale himself manages to play it back to his keeper, David Martin. 3 and nearly a half minutes gone, and ball's pretty much been in play for nearly all of it, bar a couple of quickly taken throws. Here's a ball over the top from Southend. It looks a bit heavy. Cardwell lifts a leg and almost makes contact, but it goes all the way through to Geordie van Stappershoek. There's a ball chipped up to Barham. Controls it nicely, plays it back to Aaron Jones. Does look as if Southend, excuse me, going to be quite busy and press quickly. Is Josh Stokes holding up his man, playing the ball down the line. Bit too strong for anybody to get onto. And one of the things I noticed on Saturday, in the first half, Steve, Boreham Wood sat off of Aldershot, and it played into Aldershot's hands. They totally dominated the first half. And I think Southend will have watched that, and they'll also have seen how effective Boreham Wood were in the second half when they didn't. And for that reason, they are... Oh, there's a challenge from Widrington there. I think it's a clumsy one. I think being so early in the game, he'll get away with just a warning. Free kick to Southend inside the centre circle. But yeah, I think Southend have done their homework, and you know, they are champing at the bit as we get going here. I'll come to you in a minute when I can, Steve. Here's Kensdale. Gives it to Noor Hussein over to the left. Bridge has got it. Comes back onto his right foot. Back heels it back into the path. Very, very deep cross from Southend. It's over everybody. And it will be kept in on the far side by Coker. He just draws the Aldershot player and then goes for a 1-2, but good contact there from Frost. Ball down the line, and I think Glover should be able to deal with it. He does, up towards Stokes, who gets a little flick on and recovers well. Ball into the path of Tolaj. Now Barham's in a foot race on the left-hand side. He might get the opportunity to go one-on-one against Barham, but he tries a shot, and I think it might have even just scraped the outside of the foot of the post, Steve. Certainly the keeper didn't touch it behind. Very, very close for Barham. And so much effort in every game. He just needs a bit more luck and to work on that finishing, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He plays on the shoulder, and I think he's accrued the most offsides of any player in the National League, the entire National League. So he just needs something to go for him. And yeah, it was a 50-50 chance there. Does he shoot? Does he play in Tolaj, who was in space, breaking up alongside him in the right channel? But you can never blame a striker for having a shot.
Absolutely not. Now Dimitriou's made a forward run at the other end, and Bridge is into the penalty area, squares it across. It's cleared away by Kean Harries, and the ball's been picked up by Haji Minoga, who tries to clip it off a Southend player as he puts it into touch, but there is no contact, and it will be a throw-in to Southend. Lively start here at the EBB. 6 minutes gone now. Tremendous atmosphere. Don't know what it is about Tuesday night games. They always seem to be played at a slightly higher tempo than Saturday ones. Maybe because the players and the fans have waited all day for it. Ball's in touch again. Good battling from Stokes, but the throw's been given to Southend. And, you know, anybody who's looking for signs of fatigue in the Southend players, there's certainly no signs of it early on. Of course, will it be more evident later on in the game, Steve? I don't know, but
I think that will be key. That both teams are playing at a great tempo. It has been a fantastic start.
It's very early on in the season for stats, but there is a bit of a pattern with Southend. When they've scored first, they've nearly always gone on to win the games or not lose them, and when they've conceded first, they've rarely come back from them. Of course, we are only 11 games in, and it's massive credit to Southend that they've won 5 games already. Totally false position that they're in, of course, because of the 10-point deduction. They would be above Aldershot in the table without that deduction, and they would be just 2 points off the playoffs at this stage. So don't anybody be lazy and just look at the league table coming into this one. Words of Wes Fonguk, who could have said the same about Southend on Saturday when they played at home to the bottom side in the league at the time. Tolaj out to Barham. Barham clips it back in, and it's not a good ball. You've got to feel for Tolaj. He worked so hard, and that moment there when Barham went through, yet again Tolaj had got into a position where Barham could have squared it to him. This happened at Barnet a week ago, and you could see in Tolaj's body language he was frustrated at the time. Here's Minoga looking to win the ball, and he's won it fairly, and he looks to spread it out to the left-hand side to Tolaj. It's a shame the pass was good. What a danger he is when he does break forward, Minoga.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why teams do press Aldershot, because if you allow the likes of Kean Harris and Haji Minoga to bring the ball out from defence, you're already on the back foot before you've even engaged with the opposition. But yeah, they're individually and in starting collective attacks, they are very dangerous, and I think certainly the opposition are right to try and restrict that.
A couple of goals already in the National League. We'll come to them when we can. But the ball's in play here. Kensdale is making a big run straight through the middle. It goes to Noor Hussein. Remember him scoring for from Southend. Again, I'm probably going back 2 seasons for that one. Here's Stokes spreading the ball out to the left-hand side, looking for Tolaj. Nice and easy for Taylor to cut out. We talked about Miley playing in as a centre-back. Well, Taylor's gone back in there as if he'd been playing there forever, but he wasn't the centre-back prior to this run, and you know, it's the situation that's called for it, really. Maha obviously has to put a formation out with what he's got, but while he can, he clearly favours the 3 centre-backs, and Harry Taylor's done a superb job there. Ball forward from Southend's going to go all the way through to Jordi van Stappershoef. I was just trying to remind myself pre-kick-off, of course Southend fans watching or listening will know this, but Harry Taylor is the brother of Jack, who's at Peterborough these days. And I think they were both at Barnet together at one point, weren't they?
They were, yeah. I think is one of them now not at Ipswich?
He probably has moved on now from Peterborough to Ipswich, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's making a fine career for himself, and certainly, but yeah, it needs must, and you could almost say the same about Ollie Harfield, who when I saw him play centre-back in pre-season, thought, well, he's never played there before, and he's never going to play there again, so what's the point? And now he's proving himself not just versatile, but huge quality in any position.
He's been outstanding in every one. I think this is his 3rd or 4th game in the position, and he has been outstanding, Ollie Harfield. And with Harfield and Minoga, if they ever get a chance to break forward, they both love to bring the ball. Good evening to Lindsay Morris, who's watching and listening in Tenerife. All good so far. Come on the shots. The ball's in touch over on the far side, in front of the open slab where the least amount of Southend United fans are. I don't want to do a disservice on those numbers. They are very, very good. And we can see the depth a little bit clearer now, can't we, Steve? It's a little bit of a misty evening.
Yeah.
So I'm going to up that to an absolute minimum of 400, and somewhere between 400 and 500 Southend fans. Southend have won it, but there is a foul. It's been given against Callum Powell, and he looks a little bit surprised. I think he might be a little unfortunate. But the referee so far tonight, David McNamara, has been not fussy, but very quick and decisive and clear, which is a good start. Is Tolaj holding the ball up? He goes down, gets up again, the ball breaks free, and Cav Miley sends it back. If we've got a chance here, we'll see how quickly Southend get it forward. I know Steve's got an interesting story about the referee, David McNamara. We might perhaps wait till the ball goes into touch for that, but have that one ready and loaded. Heavy touch from Cardwell. Widrington wins it, but he can only steer it into the path of another Southend United player. They're coming down the right-hand side, and deep cross in from the right, hooked away by Cian Harries, but there's no flag up, so I think the referee has either given an offside or given a free kick. Either way, it will be a free kick to the shots, and I think you can probably tell the David McNamara story, Steve.
Yeah, I think the ball had gone out of play there. I think the assistant was flagging down the side of the pitch for a throw-in, but yeah, it's probably a story that has done the rounds. He was refereeing a Women's Super League game between Manchester City and Reading a few years ago, including one of the captains, former England captain Steph Houghton, and he left his coin with which he conducts the toss before the kick-off to decide who kicks off and who kicks at which end. And it was in the left it in the dressing room, and improvising, he. Do I need to break off here? No,
you don't. The ball's going to run out of play behind the goal. Goal kick to shots. Carry on, Steve.
Improvising. He conducted a very hasty game of rock, paper, scissors, which other people thought funny. Apparently, the Football Association didn't, and stood him down for a few weeks. But credit for the resourcefulness.
Here's Harfield coming over halfway. Tolaj holds it up, goes back to Glover. Glover into the feet of Stokes. He's got a little bit of space in front of him, and he's quickly shut down. Toes the ball inside to Tolaj, gets it back from Tolaj, tries a ball into the area, doesn't come off, but it comes back to him, and now he goes back. Stokes to Widrington. Widrington's tackled by Miley. Ball over the top from Harries, and Barham's waiting to see if he beat the offside flag, and he didn't. And that's the perfect example, Steve, of exactly what you said a few minutes ago. He plays on the shoulder. He's had more offsides than anybody else, but I tell you what, when he breaks it, he's in. And that's when he's got to finish better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think both of Aldershot Town's main strikers need to finish better. They've got good stats so far, but they need to improve on them, I think, to capitalise upon those chances. But yeah, whether he was offside or not, I'm not sure. There was so much movement. I think the assistant was a little bit confused.
Here is Noor Hussein in possession of the ball. Plays it to Minoga. Good advantage from the referee as Minoga comes forward over halfway, and he's looking to slip a ball into the path of Barham. Barham controls it. Now he comes out wide to Glover. Glover to the edge of the penalty area. Looks to go past his man. Can he get the ball in? He is cut out. Good defending from Demetriou. behind for the first shots corner of the evening down at the High Street end, as we've almost completed 14 minutes here at the EBB. Aldershot Town 0, Southend United 0. Glover, I think, is going to take the corner. Now, obviously, it's part of the plan here for Frost to come short, maybe to create a bit more space in the box. I don't think he's going to be used. And so Harries is up from the back, as is Minoga. Is played back to Frost. Frost gives it back to Glover. And Aldershot still got work to do to get the ball in. Frost plays it in. It comes off of a Southend player and goes behind. It'll be another corner to Shots, and Frost just you can see that Powell and Frost kicked each other's feet there, and that's a heavy blow for both of them. They've both gone down. It will be a corner to the Shots eventually. Frost is now back up to his feet. Oh, and that's I hope it's nothing more than a bang for Frost, because they could do without losing his energy in midfield, Steve. An unfortunate coming together, just one of those moments where no quarter was given. Both of them kicked at the ball and obviously made contact with each other.
Yeah, it was all a bit unnecessary, really. That Aldershot Town made a bit of a meal of the corner, and then certainly Aldershot Town can't afford to lose Tyler Frost, but Southend can even less afford to lose Callum Powell. But they're both limping away. Powell seems the more mobile at this stage, but
yeah, Tyler Frost is limping heavily here.
I think hopefully,
and if it's just a bang, he may well get over it. But if there's anything more than that, referee blows his whistle. Corner to the Shots. In it comes from Harfield, headed away. I think it might well have been Cardwell that got the contact on it, only as far as Jones. Jones plays it out to Harfield. He's going to send in another cross left-footed here. It's headed away by Southend and up towards Powell, but Harfield recovers well and wins it well. What a player. He is so consistent. I think at the moment Stokes, there's a ball for it's almost falls into the path of Barham, but it lands on his back. No offside flag was raised. I was just going to say, Harfield, Stokes and Minoga have barely put a foot wrong all season, have they? And if you said, right, sorry, the season ends after 11 games, name your player of the season, I think those would be the three that would contest it for Shots.
I think so, yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think Ollie's been absolutely fantastic, and having to play in a couple of positions as well. When he first arrived at Aldershot Town, I thought promising, good going forward. Maybe not the best defender, but he's really come strong in every element of his game, and either as a defender or as an attacking wing back, then he's been absolutely superb.
Good evening. So it's a throw in to Southend, level with the right hand side of Aldershot Town's penalty area. 1-2, cross comes in, Van Stappershoef rises and captures it. Good evening to Steve Ray, who's listening from the Isle of Wight. Here's Ryan Glover bursting forward for the Shots. Doesn't quite take the ball in his stride and has to go backwards now. Ball inside to Stokes. Stokes goes straight back to Widrington. Widrington plays it forward, looking for Barham, who's holding it up just inside the penalty area, back to goal. Wriggles and turns one way, beats Kensdale, squares it across. It's cut out by Demetriou. Stokes was in the box. Tolaj was in the box. Southend playing the ball between them in their own defence now, and Kensdale has got the ball. Steve, I'm not going to read out the rest of your tweet, but it does involve his Mankini, his red and blue Mankini, and that's all. Thanks, really. We'll just leave it there. You can kind of add your own dialogue to that one, and Southend continue forward. We'll update our radio listeners shortly, but we are now almost through 18 minutes here at the EBB Stadium. It's Aldershot Town 0, Southend United 0. And Southend have the ball in the Aldershot half. Pretty even start so far. We'll give it another 4 or 5 minutes and we'll get at the halfway stage of the first half. We'll get Steve's verdict on who's shading this one. Haven't really had much in the way of clear-cut goal opportunities. Really just Barham's shot that was just wide of the post, or maybe even just scraped the outside of the post. But Southend lively in possession here with Jack Bridge. Bridge with the ball forward. Minoga's quickly read that. He's onto that and he'll clear his lines up towards halfway. Is that going to go out of touch? Yes, it has. It'll be another throw to Southend. Quick opportunity for me to give you a few scores from the National League already. Sam Bowen has put Wealdstone 1-0 up against Woking. And Danny Whitehead has put AFC Fylde 1-0 up against luckless Boreham Wood. AFC Fylde, of course, were bottom prior to Saturday. But it's that stage of the season, Steve, isn't it, where having beaten Southend on Saturday, if they win again tonight at home to Boreham Wood, they'll probably be out the bottom 4.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's still tight enough. We've still played few enough games, but it's also the table starts to take a little bit of shape, and teams start to feel that they're either in the chase for promotion, or they're mid-table, or they're in danger of relegation. Whereas in the first few weeks, it's all up in the air. But I think it is this sort of, as we go into autumn, where things do start to take shape.
Just watching Tyler Frost down there. We've got a break in play for our radio listeners. Treatment to a Southend player. I think it's Callum Powell, but it is down the far end, and I can't quite see clearly. But I can't see Powell amongst the other players that have all come over for some refreshment. So stoppage in play. Starting to crank up the added time at the end of the first half at least. And I think Powell's just recently back from a little knock or injury himself, isn't he? I'm not 100% sure on that one. I know he replaced Wood.
He had a groin injury.
Yeah, and he came on late-ish in the game on Saturday at home to Fylde. And I was watching the body language, and between Tyler Frost, who was talking to Liam, the physio, about the nature of his. I don't think there was any doubts about him carrying on, Frost. But nevertheless, it wasn't an ideal situation at all. Powell waits the 30 seconds to come back on. Kensdale beats Barham in the air easily. The ball's in touch on halfway, and it'll be a throw-in to the shots. And Tyler Frost is in a bit of space on the far side of the minute. I think he's lost that limp. He looks a little bit mobile again, and hopefully it was just a bang. So the ball's played into Harfield. Harfield can't see a pass ahead of him, so he goes back to Cian Harries. Harries, under pressure from Cardwell, goes back to Van Stappershoef. He now kicks up towards halfway, towards Stokes. Stokes gets a flick on. Barham's looking to nick the ball off Demetriou, but Demetriou protects it well. Kidderminster Harriers 0, Oldham 1. 21 minutes gone here at the EBB, where it's Aldershot Town 0, Southend 0, and Harry Taylor's been able to move 10, 15, 20 yards forward here across halfway. Exchanges, passes with Gus Scott Morris. Now he's going down the right hand side, plays a ball in. Aldershot can't quite get on it. It's picked up by Noor Hissin. He's going to the area. Ball comes in, it's cleared away. Shot comes in, and it's wide from Callum Powell. And the referee's given a corner. No, is he given a goal kick? No, he has given a corner.
I think it was a deflection off Cian Harris. Yeah, the Southend players were appealing for a handball.
They're not happy with something. They think they've seen a handball.
They think Cian Harris saved it as if a goalkeeper rather than saved it as a centre half.
Well, apologies to our radio listeners. I didn't see that, so I'm neither going to say he did or he didn't. But one or two Southend players look very unhappy with that. Yeah. And they're still complaining to the referee. And I think, unfortunately, because you can't... I don't think you can get more with one shout these days. And so the yellow card has come out for Harry Taylor, I think. And I think Harry Taylor's obviously clearly seen something which has forced him to speak up a little bit too much. And Matthew Foote, who sometimes sits alongside me in commentary, he's very honest and straightforward as we are, Steve. He said it's stonewall. I think Aldershot have got away with one there. Corner comes in from Southend. It's headed away by Harfield, only as far as Barham, hooks it forward. And Aldershot, dare I say, who haven't had too many moments of clear-cut luck with decisions this season, might have just had one there.
Yeah, I think my instinct seeing it just once, just from this distance, was that, I think it could have been Cian's chest, but my instinct was that there was also hands involved.
Yeah, Matt Foote is stood in the East Bank right behind it, and he said he saw it clear as a bell. So he doesn't have the benefit of TV pictures or a replay. If anybody's watching the TV coverage, and there was a replay of that ball into the area, Van Stappershoef's missed it, and just as he was trying to get another touch on it, well, the offside flag's come up anyway, but I think an Aldershot player just got a little touch on it as Southend player was going to pop it in at the far post. Now again, I'm not sure of the identity. It might have been Harfield. What did you see, Steve?
I think it was Van Stappershoef who stumbled, missed the ball the first time, recovered, and then I think just got a little despairing hand, flailing hand ahead of Cardwell. But Aldershot living dangerously.
Yeah, we'll update our radio listeners shortly. It is still 0-0, but Shot's having a dodgy few minutes here, and Southend will consider themselves a little bit unlucky not to be ahead. Boreham would have equalised at Fylde. Head tennis in the middle of the park, and I was going to come to Steve when I can about how even it was, and I think in the 3 or 4 or 5 minutes since I said that, it's been all Southend. Here's Minoga playing the ball forward. It's chested down by Lauren Tollage into the path of Glover. He goes back to Jones. Jones back to Haji Minoga. Southend working tirelessly here. Absolutely no issues at all about their energy levels at this stage. And I'm sure Tommy Widrington will have prepared his side mentally for not to expect that, and not to expect that they wouldn't have to give every bit of effort themselves. Good exchange involving Cardwell, but Aldershot have won it back. Glover's played it off of a Southend player, shepherded behind, and well, I think it was shepherded because Aldershot thought that Glover had played it off a Southend player, and it would have been a goal kick. I think it was a goal kick, but corner's been given, and Southend fans watching and listening will say, well, it's a little bit of justice because they haven't had what they deserve.
Yeah,
so
it's probably the least they deserve compared to what happened a couple of minutes ago. But certainly, yeah, I think when it was a 50-50 for me, Glover and a Southend player went for it. You can't afford to play.
Shot over the bar from Southend. Sorry, listeners. The corner came in very quickly there. Sorry, apologies to our listeners. But yeah, volleyed over the top, and I think it wasn't so many oohs with that one, Steve, but it was the first clear-cut effort at goal. Oh, hang on, we're going to update our radio listeners now. Hi, Connor, 25 and a half minutes gone, and if you'd have come to me 5 minutes ago, I'd have said it's very, very even. The last 5 minutes have been totally dominated by Southend United, and there's been a moment of controversy. Big shouts from Southend players and supporters for a potential penalty for handball, allegedly by Cian Harries. I didn't get a clear look at it myself, but one or two people have suggested it might have been a Stonewall penalty, not spotted by the officials. It remains 0-0. The shots are just come through somehow. A very difficult 6 or 7 minutes here. They are under it from a very lively Southend United side, belying, of course, their position at the foot of the table. Shots 0, Southend 0, 28 minutes gone. Caldwell with the ball forward. Minoga cuts it out. Tolaj misses it. Barham takes it on his chest, gets it out of his feet, breaks into a little area of space. Great tackle from Cav Miley. Bridge picking up the ball. You can see, Steve, the understanding, the work rate, the togetherness, the desire and the determination of this Southend United side.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that their first 11, as their true league position of 8 suggests, they're an excellent team at this level. It's the depth that they haven't got, and any fatigue that might be accumulated in having to play, in not being able to rotate. But yeah, they're an excellent team. Make no bones about it.
Here comes Southend again on the left-hand side with Dimitriou inside to Nur Hussein. Is he going to try a shot? Comes back out to the left to Dimitriou. Tries a little shoved ball into the penalty area for Cardwell, but that's been really well read by Aaron Jones, and he clears his lines up towards halfway. And I know there's rotation of the shot strikers, but the way things are at the minute, Aldershot are being penned back a little bit, and they probably, in this situation right now, could probably do with Kwame Thomas to his strength up front to hold the ball up.
Absolutely, yeah. You need an outlet ball, and if you're under pressure, you just need to lump it long sometimes, and ask someone to battle on their own up front. And neither Barham nor Tolaj are particularly adept at that. But yeah, the situation probably is calling for Kwame Thomas.
Right, Shots have got it in midfield. Theo Widrington plays it back to Ollie Harfield. Harfield goes back to Cian Harries, and Shots just playing it around, and quite rightly at the minute, just trying to get a feel of the ball, an element of asserting a little bit of control on the ball again, because they really have had a difficult 10 minutes here. And this is an interesting one tactically, because I think at the moment Southend look the more lively. But here come the shots for the first time in a while, over halfway. Widrington tries a ball out to the left, looking for Frost, but it's headed into touch by Gus Scott Morris. Good evening to Gina Ballston, listening up north. She said she's watching with Ellie. It's the first game Ellie's watched stream live. She had her first game down at the EBB as mascot just a few weeks ago. Aldershot take the throw down the line. Barham holds it up, comes back. Frost sends across into the area. and it's past Tolaj and in front of Jones, and it fizzes harmlessly behind the goal. Aldershot's first attacking foray of any description, really, Steve, in what, 12, 14 minutes. 29 very nearly gone. Shots nil, Shrimpers nil.
Yeah, I'd have said Aldershot Town had marginally shaded the opening 20 minutes, but since that point it has been all Southend, and they can probably consider themselves unfortunate one way or the other, either through chances created or slightly dubious shots defending, to not at least have had a real clear-cut chance to put themselves ahead. But I think the one thing that I'm looking forward to this evening still, I haven't really seen it so far, is Jack Bridge against Aaron Jones. Two fullbacks that like to bomb on. Bridge is a box-to-box fullback, gets forward, really creative as well. He had an excellent assist against Fylde on Saturday, where he played the ball from his left-back position right towards the edge of the penalty area. And he is one of Southend's biggest creative threats, even though he's playing at wing-back.
Good 1-2 from the throw for Southend. Gus Scott Morris with a deep cross in. That's headed away by Kean Harries. Aldershot not being allowed to control and dominate as they did against Boreham Wood in the first half on Saturday. There's Frost competing with Gus Scott Morris. Good battle that. Referee doesn't see fit to give a free kick either way. Held up now by Cav Miley. He goes back to Harry Taylor, the only player I believe booked so far in the game. Half an hour gone in most of the games. Only 15 minutes gone in the live TV game between Rochdale and Chesterfield, but it's 1-1 already. Cairo Mitchell for Rochdale, equalising Armando Dobra's goal. Nice to see Dobra scoring on TV rather than just dive in. And here's Southend coming down the right-hand side with Scott Morris. Ball through. I'm not quite sure what he was trying there. Don't think it was a shot. Maybe it was a channel ball for Cardwell. Obviously Cardwell, the known danger, Steve, for Southend, and he's probably having his most prolific spell at this level of football right now, isn't he? He got the move on the back of a good FA Cup run with Chorley, and he's certainly used his first season to bed in, but he's flying this in. There's a poor ball there from Widrington, giving it straight to Bridge. Then he cannons into the back of Widrington. The referee was just looking away, trying to make amends. Decent game for Aldershot at Boreham Wood on Saturday. Theo Widrington, definitely his best so far. Ball into the area, Cardwell shoots, and I think it's gone just good wide. Save. And Van Stappershoef may or may not have just palmed it wide of the goal. In fact, has the referee now changed his mind? I think he's initially pointed for a goal kick, and now he's busy having a word with Aaron Jones. And he's now busy having a word with Jack Bridge.
That's undoubtedly a corner for me, surely.
Yeah, I thought it was a save
from Yordi.
So Cardwell shot, possibly creeping into the corner, certainly tipped behind by Van Stappershoef. I think the referee's positioning was what was wrong. I think he thought he was pointing towards the corner, but he was pointing more towards the goal. So we move on, but there in the 32nd
the ball
minute,
went out on the left side of the goal, and he was pointing to the right side for the corner, which I think confused everybody.
Yeah, but his point was actually nearer to the goal than the corner. But anyway, we'll get on with it. Corner at the East Bank end for Southend, and it comes, headed on. Who will be first to the loose ball? It will be a Southend United player. There's Noor Hussein on the ball. And he's just teasing Jones, but Jones won't nibble. He's just waiting and waiting. Now he goes backwards, and there's a good touch from Bridge to get the ball under control. He goes back to Coker. Coker with the ball in. Little deft touch from Gus Scott Morris. And he swings through Haji Minoga, trying to make sure the ball didn't go across the line, and it did. Big cheers from the East Bank, from the Shots fans. Not cheers, sorry. Appeals, really, for more punishment for Scott Morris, but fair play to Minoga and Morris. I think Scott Morris held out his hand, Minoga took it, and they got on with things. It will be a goal kick to the Shots when they restart, but there's a Southend United player gone down. And help me out, Steve, it's not Powell this time. Is it Dimitriou? I think it might well be.
Possibly, yes.
For the benefit of those of you that are watching on NLTV, you have live pictures, we don't. They're borrowing our commentary, but they're not supplying us with any pictures, which is a shame, because we don't get to see the replays that you do. It's not Dimitriou, because I can see Dimitriou now down by the away dugout. So maybe the Southend fans watching can see who the player is. Is it Gus Scott Morris?
It might well be. Looks like he's heading back out to that side. Yes, I think it probably is. Yeah.
England C international.
Yeah, but yeah, that first real sign that first real sight we've seen of Harry Cardwell there, and his excellent movement. He just ghosted into the penalty area, found himself some space, hit it seemingly accurately across goal towards that far corner. I think it was an excellent fingertip save from Jordi van Stappershoef to keep it out, and rightly the referee did award a corner, but shots need to be wary. As you were saying a second ago, Cardwell's in excellent form, and his movement, his intelligent runs, the way he just slightly delays the runs and loses his markers, shots need to be wary of that, otherwise Cardwell will punish us.
No doubt that Aldershot began this game in fine mood, continuing from where they left off at Boreham Wood, but over the course of the first half an hour, Southend United have snuffled that out really, and now Aldershot go long from Harry's. Barham's chasing the ball, he should get there, he should keep it in. He's got Aaron Jones behind him, he does well, comes back to Jones now. Jones comes across the penalty area, finds Widrington. I'm not sure what Widrington's trying to do there, but it just goes straight out of play. And Theo Widrington definitely had his best game for shots so far at Boreham Wood, and the management team, particularly Hugo Langton, who I interviewed afterwards without prompting, kind of talked about the strength of Widrington. Now he's seen him at 4 different clubs and he knows what he can do, and he did give Aldershot's midfield a little sense of calmness on Saturday. I think what he really needs as well, Theo Widrington, is a good game here at the EBB in front of the Shots fans, because he's struggled to win them over to this point. There's a ball forward, flicked on by Cardwell, well read by Minoga, turns inside, plays it to Glover. Glover in a little bit of space, finds Stokes in exactly that, a little bit of space. Stokes looks to give it back to Glover, but it's well read by Southend. Great skills by Noor Hussein to evade the challenge from Glover. Dimitriou back to Kensdale. I'm so impressed at the attitude, the energy, the work rate of Southend United so far. 36 minutes very nearly gone, and they have been the better side here so far at the EBB Stadium, but it remains Shots 0, Southend United 0 here. Ball through the middle to Noor Hussein, and a little bit like Gates said the other week, they will keep on playing. There's a ball, a little bit heavy. Van Stappershoef will go through, and talking to Gates said the other week, it is Oxford City 0, Brazil 1. I mean, Gateshead 1. Don't know how many passes were in that move. Gateshead fans won't care. Ooh, big challenge there from Aaron Jones. We'll see if any punishment comes later. Big collective ooh from the EBB. Good decision to play advantage from the referee. Minoga clears it forward. Aldershot come away with the ball with Frost. Frost plays it down the line, and Tolaj will chase after it in a one-on-one race against Kensdale. Kensdale misses his touch. It'll be a throw into Aldershot, and the referee's going to have a word with Aaron Jones, is it? And it might well be a yellow card. It is going to be a yellow card for the Shots captain. And I don't really have any complaints with that, Steve, do you?
No, not at all. No, I think it was, it was clumsy, and yeah, I think Hussein's back up now, but it was entirely deserving.
And it's not their fault, but the Shots faithful in the North Stand didn't help, because they collectively all went, ooh, as that tackle went in.
Yeah, I think that
made the referee's mind up.
They booked Aaron Jones as much as the referee did.
Callum Maycock has put Solihull Moors, the only unbeaten side in the National League, 2-0 up at Hartlepool United. Here's the Shots into the final third for the first time in a while. Jones plays the ball down the line to Haji Minoga. He drills across it, half cleared to the edge of the area. Stokes picks it up. Aaron Jones tries a shot left-footed, deflects off a Southend player. Ball comes forward. Southend have won it. Dimitriou plays it to Hussein. Again, good skill, turns inside to get away from Stokes. Stokes shuts down Miley. Miley gives it back to Hussein. Hussein back to Kensdale. And forget all the other circumstances and the amount of players available. This is the best that Southend have played against Aldershot in the last 2 or 3 seasons, where the Shots have done pretty well overall in those matches, particularly, of course, at Roots Hall, where they've won both of their games there. Here is Dimitriou, finding lots of space on the left-hand side, plays the ball into Callum Powell. He squares it straight to the feet of Harfield, who plays it out towards Tolaj. He's battling hard for it, does well physically to get there first and hold the ball up in front of Taylor. Plays it inside to Theo Widrington. What's Widrington going to do with the ball? He just plays a simple pass across to Minoga. Minoga into Glover, but he's got 2 Southend players around him, so he goes back to Minoga, and Minoga goes all the way back to Van Stappershoef. A little bit of thinking here for Tommy Widrington and his management team to do at half-time, because if all things remain even and the game carries on like this, there's only going to be one winner. We're in the 39th minute. It's very nearly up and it remains 0-0. We know how important the first goal are in any game, but particularly, as I say, looking at the games this season with Southend, when they've scored, they very rarely look back, and when they've gone behind, they've not very often been able to get back into it. So Aldershot go all the way back to Van Stappershoef, and that's the only moments of comfort, the crumbs of comfort that Aldershot are getting, is little moments and times when they've got a bit of time on the ball. Here's Josh Stokes, who's got quite a lot of space to run into on this occasion. Plays a ball into the air, it's taken down by Frost. Heavy touch from him, and again Southend will comfortably deal with it and come out. A little 1-2 between Miley and Gus Scott Morris. So confident on the ball, so together, the way they're working as a team up and down the pitch. And well, if you expected anything less from Southend, you may well be surprised this evening. But the one thing I'm sure Tommy Widrington will have talked about pre-match is don't expect any favours. Don't think this is going to be a cakewalk, because it won't be. Here's Widrington with the ball over the top for Barham to chase. That's not a bad effort. It's played back inside by the Southend defender, and Martin has to come off his line and clear. Ball's taken nicely in his stride by Harries, who exchanges a little wall pass with Frost. Frost inside to Glover, who's had a lot more deep defensive work to do. That's a great ball. Frost takes the ball, pulls it over. It's just too heavy. Lovely take from Frost, really positive. Don't make a foul there, Aaron Jones. One, because you're on a booking. Two, because shots have got a bit of momentum here. Widrington only wins it in the air. Glover will play it back, all the way back to Van Stappershoef. That might even go for a corner, unless Geordie can get there first, which he does. Great pressing from Southend to get Aldershot going from front to back. Ball forward, bounces over. Barham, Kensdale clears it forward, taken on the chest by Hussein. Again, he has a bright first touch and a bright second touch, plays it back to Bridge. Haji Minoga can get nowhere near it, and they go all the way back to Martin. It's Rochdale 1, Chesterfield 2. And my goodness me, you get your money's worth watching Chesterfield this season, don't you?
Oh yeah.
6 late winners in the last 7 games. 8 games in which they've scored in the last 10 minutes this season. Well, Jones nearly wins it. He does win it, but he plays it straight to Miley. He's come from the back, all the way through the middle, still not picked up. Goes back to Bridge. And Bridge now inside to Hussein. What a skillful player he is, Noor Hussein. So confident. Here's Dimitri picking it up. Is he going to try from distance? He does. And it's over the bar, but he loves a goal against Aldershot, Steve, as we know, at both ends of the pitch.
Yeah, that was... I think maybe he had a few better options there. If he just slowed it down a bit, assessed his options, could have continued the attack, continued the Southend possession, but no, it did open up for him momentarily to have a shot there, but I don't think shooting from 25 yards is really Jason Dimitriou's strength.
Theo Widrington to Glover, coming up towards halfway now, finds a little out ball to Tolaj. He wasn't sure if he was passing or keeping it. In the end, he keeps it, inadvertently, I think. Strokes it to Glover on the left touch line. Goes for the return. He's to the byline. Can he pull it back? Southend do well and put it behind for a corner. Quick word while they set up for the corner. You'll hear the irony in 2 sections of this, Steve. It's from Stephen Paul Garrett, otherwise known as Elvis, often drumming in the East Bank. He said he can't hear much drumming. Funnily enough, as I read that, there was a lot of drumming in the East Bank. He said, I'm in a Southend pub enjoying your commentary, but trying not to be noticed by anyone. Oh, the irony.
Rock and Roll Steve not being noticed.
He's in Southend when Aldershot are playing Southend in Aldershot. Here's a ball in from Frost. Taken down by Tolaj at the far post, but he can't, at the far side, but he can't get it under control. It's cleared only as far as Harfield. Glover with another ball back in. That's headed away by Cav Miley. That'll only go as far as Harfield. And as we creep towards the final minutes of the 45 in the first half, the shots are enjoying a lot more possession. Here's Widrington, ball round the corner to Stokes. He's 1-on-1 against Dimitriou, but he chooses to go back to Harries. Stokes with a little ball round the corner to Widrington, gets the ball back from him, tries a first time ball in. That should be easy for Gus Scott Morris to win in the air, and then easy for Glover to win in the air. It's played forward by Miley to Haji Minoga. Fascinatingly poised this game. Big odds that whoever gets the first goal will probably go on to win it, or certainly not lose it, if you look at the stats. But here's they mean nothing, as Jamal Firefield was pointing out on the NL Full-Time podcast at the weekend. Not interested in stats, because whatever they are, they're always there in any game to be broken or added to. Here's Minoga, who's finding himself on the left-hand side at the moment. Harfield's in the middle and Harry's on the right. That's a little change. I wonder if that's just temporary or whether they'll stay like that. Might be some reasons for it. Theo Widrington's very deep at the moment as well. I'm not quite sure why Widrington and Harry's are just exchanging passes, as if they're trying to run down the clock or something, or Aldershot. But an odd one that, but they go back to the left-hand side. Minoga's got it, plays it inside to Glover. Glover looking for a more forward ball, but slides it sideways to Widrington. Widrington into the feet of Jones, goes forward, and Aldershot genuinely are trying to keep possession here. Southend to a man in an out of possession formation now of a 5-3-2. Harry straight through the middle to Tolaj, shot from distance. Oh! Finally! It's come! The goal that's been on the end of his foot for the last 10 games. Laurent Tolaj, blistering left foot strike out of nothing. It's another assist for Cian Harries, who has assisted every one of Aldershot Town's last 3 goals. And as we approach the 45-minute mark, Aldershot Town 1, Southend 0.
Wow, what a finish from Laurent Tolaj. Absolutely from nothing. David Martin did not see that coming. We're going to 5 minutes of time at the end of the first half, but yeah, Aldershot Town, fantastic finish from Laurent Tolaj. Martin did not see that one coming. He was not able to move. The ball was already in the net before he sniffed it. And maybe that's what Aldershot Town were trying to do. Slow, quick. Just sucker Southend into thinking that they were going nowhere, and then they pull the trigger.
Yeah, Southend are already on the attack again, Steve. And there's a good foot in there from Stokes, but he toes it into the path of Cardwell, and Powell's got it, and Harfield, well, it's been given as a goal kick to Aldershot, which will really help them because they need to just settle now. Yeah. Southend fans watching and listening, you probably won't know, Shots fans will. Last season, to some extent this season, Aldershot have a terrible habit of when they score of conceding within the next 10 minutes. Steve, there are only 4 from now on until half-time, and that is Aldershot Town's next job. There's no question, there's no kidding anybody. Southend have been the better side in this first half, but that is a goal to grace any game of football. And I'm telling you, Southend fans, Tolaj had 5 shots with his left foot at Bournemouth on Saturday. And they did gradually get worse, but the first one was a sizzler like that, and it was well saved by Ashmore. Here's Stokes trying to get onto a loose ball on the edge of the area. It's cleared forward, only as far as Frost, who can't control it. The Southend player goes down. Southend retain possession. Another good advantage played by the referees. A pretty good first half, McNamara. Southend will be desperate to try and get themselves level before half-time if they possibly can. We are... Great to see the added time has been added to the scoreboard. That really helps. And we're nearly through 2 minutes of the minimum of 5 to be added on. Harfield over to the ball, and he'll clear it forward. Bounce once, and Barham will be well placed to jump for it. Dimitriou gets it. It's a good little battle between those two, both diminutive. And Dimitriou's done well so far for me. Ball played down the line. Harfield should get there just before Cardwell. Takes no chances, clears it. Into touch, almost onto the roof of the south stand, but it just bounces off the little angled bit, the bit where the washing machine used to be for many years.
Oh yeah.
And it's into touch, throw in to Southend, Gus Scott Morris to take. And well, it's a lively old game. It's been graced by a goal of absolutely outstanding quality by the Swiss striker Laurent Tolaj, who scored last Tuesday as well at Barnet. Here's a cross in from Southend, cleared away by Harfield. It's going to go all the way through to the deepest outlying player, Ollie Kensdale, who plays it now out to the right-hand side. Deep cross comes in. Cardwell heads it across to the edge of the area. Widrington may have been fouled again. Referee, consistent with what he's done all evening, lets that little bit of contact go. And here's Bridge going one-on-one against Aaron Jones, trying to get a little trick in or draw a foul. Cross comes in. Cardwell can't quite... there's a handball there. Clear handball from Gus Scott Morris. And that was as clear to the referee as it was to us, Steve. We had a nice passage through on the same angle as the referee. I don't know if it was inadvertent or not, but I think it was a natural kind of reaction to try and steer it. Not a bookable one for me.
No, not in that position where it's an attacking situation where he's barely 6 yards from the goal line, but no, definitely yellow card. And I think hopefully now Aldershot Town will be able to see this one out. It's
1 minute and 15 seconds of the.
That's another way to put it. 1 minute and 15 seconds until half time.
And unless he adds any more on at all, half times elsewhere. It's Bromley 1, Eastleigh 0, Halifax 0, Dagenham or Redbridge 0, Oxford City 0, Gateshead 1, Fylde 1, Borehamwood 1, York City 1, Barnet 1, and Ebbsfleet 0, Dorking 0. Here at the EBB, it's Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 0. On the balance of play, Southend don't deserve to be behind, but they are, thanks to a blistering strike from. Wouldn't have been far off 30 yards, you know, Steve. 28, I'm going to go for. We haven't seen a replay. Long ball diagonal out to the right-hand side for Southend. Can't be controlled. Goes into touch. Throw into the shots, and they've got 25 seconds in the minimum of 5 added minutes to see out to ensure that they go in with half a clean sheet and a 1-0 lead. A reminder that the only clean sheet that Aldershot Town have got this season was when Jack Bycroft was in goal. So Jordi van Stappershoef, who, you know, he's a difficult opening to his Aldershot career, but he's done all right for me in the last couple of games.
Yeah.
There's been a few good saves in there, and when he has had little wobbly moments, he's recovered quickly. There is the half-time whistle. I think we're going to do an update to radio. But you know what, Steve? They're going to go to 2 other games before, so we'll go with yours and just keep an ear out if you can after when they get to the Dorking one, when it comes towards an end. Your thoughts on the first half here? Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 0 at half time.
Yeah, I think Southend have stifled Aldershot. They've pressed, they've harried, they've tested Aldershot's defensive resilience. Maybe not quite in a similar way as Gateshead did here a couple of weeks ago, but they certainly had the better, maybe the second quarter of the game, the second half of the first half. But then from nothing, Aldershot Town have found that goal, and you can't say they deserve to be ahead, but 6 home games this season, Aldershot Town have scored the first goal in all 6, and I think that's been a key factor, understandably, in the resilience, the return of Aldershot Town's impressive home form, and long may that continue. But Southend are no way out of this yet. They've got plenty of quality, plenty of goal threat, and Aldershot Town will need to be on their mettle throughout the second half. I
think you're picking your way through it. There's no doubt I mean, I've paid them so many compliments, Southend, you know, their cohesion, their togetherness, their patterns of play, what you get from playing almost the same 11 almost every week, plus the backs to the wall situation they're in. The 2 doubts, if you were a Southend United fan, would be the possible burnout factor, which you're more likely to see later on in the game. And talking to one of the 2 BBC commentators tonight for BBC Essex, they said they got back into the game level against Fylde on Saturday, but you could see they didn't really have another gear to go to. And they need to do the same thing again here against Aldershot. And the other aspect is just the fact that, you know, just the human nature of it, the fact that they are a goal down as well. I don't think there's any doubt in their spirit or their battling qualities. And to that end, you can't doubt the spirit and the battling qualities of Aldershot Town, who've not had their best half, but they've stayed in the game. And goodness me, Steve, I don't know what the stats are on the number of shots he's had, but I'm absolutely confident in saying Laurent Tollage will be in the top 10 in the National League for the amount of shots he's had this season.
Yeah, easily.
I mean, easily. I think he had 7 in the first game against Oldham and scored 2. He had 5 on Saturday. That goal has been coming. And that is far and away the best goal he scored this season. I'm going to say the best goal Aldershot have scored. If you liked Haji Minogue's strike against Borehamwood, that one, you know, it doesn't even compare to that, because he absolutely sizzled. And David Martin had only just began to think about whether he was going to move for it, and he literally just turned and watched it fly into his net. It was one of those mesmerising strikes. I don't think we get the stats on the power of a strike, but my goodness me, that is right up there, Steve, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. And hastily researched, before this evening, Laurent Tollage was 4th in the entire National League for the number of shots taken.
How many?
4th.
Well, there you go. I confidently predict to be in the top 10.
Only Con Clark, Sinclair and Houghton of Fylde.
Excellent stuff. Great stats. And you'll have to show me later where I can find those. Link, please, to my WhatsApp when you get a chance. Right, I'm going to shut up now because we're going to do our radio update.
Right, I'll just go through the other half-time scores from this evening's on the National League fixtures. At the moment it's AFC Fylde 1, Bournemouth 1.
Yeah, Southend have been superb in the first half, full of spirit, determination, cohesion, togetherness, and they've given Aldershot a really, really difficult time. But Aldershot have stayed in the game, they've defended well, and I'm here to tell you, Connor, that I think, pretty much on the 45-minute mark, Lauren Tullage received the ball from Kean Harries, dead central, 30 yards out. He took 2 steps forward and smashed it past David Martin, who just watched it fly into his net. I'd love to see the power, the MPH on that shot. It is Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 0 somehow and some way. No problems in admitting that Southend have been the better team in the first half, but it's the shots that go in 1-0 up against the side who are bottom. But I wouldn't want to call it rock because they won't be there for long. Half time, shots 1, Southend 0. All right, listeners, just have a quick look at those final half times, and I might have a comment or two to read out from social media, and then we'll take a break. Somebody's very kindly sent me the goal, so I'll have a little look at that. And other half times in the National League. So Joe Newton and Callum Maycock got the Solihull Moors goals at Hartlepool. And my app's not quite refreshing, but I think I read most of the half times out as they came in anyway. And that's it from me and Steve for the next 8-10 minutes or so. We'll be back with you for the second half time here at the EBB. Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 0. Oh, Neil Hocking asked me to give a shout out to Phoebe and Piper. What a strike that was. And thank you very much, Keith Deere, for sending me a clip of the goal. When I get enough 3G or 5G signal or Wi-Fi, I'll have a look at that.
Oh dear, you got a few boos for that one. Okay, we're ready. Last chance. It is on. As soon as straight us up, just take it fine. Sam. We can move through it. Have you seen it? Seen it back. Lucky. Good effort. Rebel, finish us off. See if we can get a winner. Oh, never mind. Thanks for being good spirits. We'll see you at the weekend. Thank you.
I didn't realise we had a ring. Yeah, no, we do.
one birthday message this evening, and it's happy birthday to Andy Wicks from your son Tom. So I hope you're having a great birthday, Andy. The Shot's next Panorama National League fixtures is coming Saturday when Dagenham and Redbridge visit the M Stadium. We have a long midweek trip to Altrincham in a week tonight, followed by another away journey, this time to Solihull Moors on Saturday the 7th of October. On Saturday the 14th, we commence our FA Cup campaign, so please consult club media outlets for details of who you will be facing real time. I believe the draw may be sometime next Monday. The Shot's travel away group are running coaches for those two forthcoming away games. For the trip to Altrincham a week today, the coach leaves the M Stadium at 1:30, and the cost is £47 for members and £50 for non-members. And for the trip to Solihull on Saturday the 7th, departure time is 11 o'clock, and the fare is £32 for members and £35 for non-members. To book seats on either of those away trips, please email shotsawaytravelgroup@gmail.com. Just been given another birthday. Happy 17th birthday tomorrow to Jake Tilly.
because he hasn't. They want energy up front for the whole game.
Welcome back to our listeners and hopefully our viewers as well. Second half here at the EBB Stadium, where it's Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 0. A half-time substitution has been made by Southend, and it's up front, and it's Powell and Wood that have exchanged places. Powell, of course, back from an injury recently, starting in preference to Wood tonight. A little bit of a knock first half as well, so Powell off and Jack Wood on. So the first of the only 3 potential substitutes used by Southend United. Subject of much discussion at half-time in the Aldershot Town media box is that distinct period of Aldershot trying to keep the ball and just kind of see it with a bit of possession and control up to half-time, and then of course one ball straight through the middle yet again from Cian Harries, centre-back, who has assisted 3 goals on the trot now. And a fantastic strike by Lauren Tolaj, his 3rd at the EBB this season, his 3rd at that end of the pitch, yet to score at the East Bank end. Tolaj, that's the opportunity he'll be looking to seize on in the second half. It's a good flick on from Barham, but nobody with him, and Cav Miley will pick the ball up. So Southend United now in their all yellow strip, kicking towards the open end, the community stand end at the High Street. And the shot's kicking towards the East Bank. Tolaj heads it back to Frost, ball over the top. Lovely first touch from Kensdale. Choices now, and the choice is to go back to Martin. Martin clears, only as far as Widrington, who touches it straight to Tolaj. Tolaj holds it up, goes back to Frost. Frost, little clipped ball. He's looking for Widrington. He can't get onto it, but Tolaj is onto it. Stokes has got it, gives it back to Tolaj. Comes back onto his right foot, squares it across, can't get a shot away. Should be cleared away by Dimitriou. Little scary moment early doors for Southend. Good ball there. Oh, Haji Minoga's missed the ball, and it's definitely going to be at least a yellow for Haji Minoga. It was a genuine attempt to get to the ball, but he missed it. Southend, 1 or 2 of the players appealing for a little bit more. I think it's going to be a yellow, Steve, but it was clumsy. And Haji Minoga can have no complaints, and perhaps someone who's able to check can check how many he's had this season. It might well be his 5th yellow card. It's certainly at least his 4th. Your thoughts, Steve?
Yellow card all day. I don't think, considering it was only on the halfway, I don't think it was a red, but it was wild and out of control and clumsy, and he does pick up a yellow card.
But I think, and the referee using a bit of common sense here as well, I think Haji Minoga genuinely believed he could get that, didn't he? There was nothing in his head that wanted to foul. He just wanted to get his foot round and win the ball.
Absolutely. There's not. He's an aggressive defender, but a very, I think, an honest one.
Yeah.
But sometimes he does need to learn when he can tackle and when he can't. And that was very much a situation of when he can't.
Exactly that. Ball over to the far side, well won in the air by Aaron Jones. Stokes battling away with Miley. Miley wins that one. Goes forward down the line. Minoga should be first to get there, and does. Is he shoved in the back as he clears it? Nothing's given by the referee. Neil Hocking, who wanted a shout out for Piper and Phoebe in the first half, now says he's listening in Canada with George and Oscar. Loving the scoreline. Let's get a W. Happy to hear from Southend fans as well. If you're watching on National League TV, if you've got any input, I'm happy to read that out. Long throw from Southend into the box, missed by almost everybody, and it should be parried in. It's cleared off the line, and appeals from Southend that it was over the line. Jordi van Stappershoef and Ollie Harfield balling each other out. Harfield trying to have a go at Van Stappershoef. Van Stappershoef, it's weird, Steve. It's almost like Jordi anticipates his own mistakes, because 3 or 4 times in the last couple of the games he's got something wrong and he's quickly done something about it. Now, Southend appealing it was over the line. Let's be honest, we cannot tell from here. We've got no idea. It was close though.
Yeah, I think it was close. For me, it wasn't over the line. I think once again, Yordi missed the ball, and then he managed to, as you say, atone for his own mistake, clawed it off the line, and Aldershot survived. But yeah, I think you can certainly understand Southend's vehement appeals, but I think quite rightly they've been waved away.
And well, no quarter given between Harfield and Jordi van Stappershoff, but I like that. I like to see that sometimes. Both trying to tell each other what they could have done better. Here's Jordi kicking the ball from his feet up towards halfway, and Kensdale will beat Barham in the air, but he can only head it straight to Harfield. Harfield will find Frost with the ball now. Frost tries a ball up to Barham, who's isolated with Demetriou. Demetriou does well and heads it, but Widrington's onto the loose ball. Widrington gives it to Aaron Jones. Good understanding between those two, and so there should be, because they played enough games together for Kings Lynn. Here's Kean Harries out to Harfield. Harfield down the left side to Frost. Frost has got a bit of space in from the touchline. He's running directly towards the penalty area. Gives it to Stokes. Stokes back onto his right foot. Ball into the area, headed up in the air. Keeper should be favourite to get this one. Battling away. Ooh, scruffy. But Martin gets it at the second attempt and bowls it straight out to Noor Hussin. Hussin finds Bridge. Aaron Jones almost gets a little bit of purchase on it. He gets some purchase on it, but not enough. And Bridge starts again. Inside to the substitute, Jack Wood. Ball forward. Cardwell heads it, but only into the path of Kean Harries. And Harries has proven he's got a pass in him, and we think we saw evidence of that pre-season. What he also is very capable of doing when the situation calls for it is putting his foot right through it and sticking it up to halfway. And I do not mind seeing a defender do that when it's the right time, and he does it well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Southend holding up. Good headed winner from Barr, and the ball, loose ball, almost breaks to Stokes, but Southend have snaffled it again, and keep abreast of the other scores in the National League, but we've got a pretty breathless pace in this one, and we're going to fully focus on the action here at the EBB, where it's Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 0, but this game is very much alive. Here is Kensdale coming forward over halfway. Stokes now in pursuit of him. Controlled over on the far side. Oh, good ball down the line, and Bridge is there. He's into the left-hand side of the penalty area. And I'll tell you what, Aaron Jones, he's on a yellow card, brilliant, stayed with him. And as Bridge tried to put the ball in, cut it out at source. And what Jones has been doing on the right, and Harfield and Scott when he was in the side, so much better from Aldershot this season, stopping so many more crosses from coming in.
Yeah.
They've done much better at that. They haven't done better defending from set pieces, where they continue to concede from them, but none so far tonight. 51st minute, shots 1, Southend United 0. Here comes Southend again with the corner into the penalty spot. Header on target from Gus Scott Morris, and it's straight to Jordi, who, even though it's only the 52nd minute, Steve, clutches it and goes to ground as if it were the 81st.
Yeah, it was a clean header won by Scott Morris, but fortunately for Aldershot Town, straight at Jordi. And they do need to be wary. Jack Bridge winning that, supplying that cross and winning that corner.
Good play from,
be wary of him.
Good play from Taylor there, and Stokes is buffeting away at Coker, who eventually goes back to. They go out to Demetriou, and Demetriou goes back to Martin. Shots 1, Shrimpers 0. Update to radio listeners shortly. 52.5 minutes gone as it stands. Brazil have scored again at Oxford City. It's Oxford City 0, Gateshead 2. The real deal this year, Gateshead. I'm sure Southend, if you've played them yet, but they really are the real deal. Here come Southend on the left side. Cross in, blocked again by Jones, but coming again to the second time to the bylines, pulled back, and again it's two Aldershot Town players who almost clash with each other, getting there first to put it behind. Harfield it is, and Frost, and again that's what you want to see. A couple of low fives in there, job done. Now they've got another job to do, and that's defend another set piece, where Widrington's big on them getting the first contact. A lot of pushing and shoving. The ball comes into the area, it's headed up. I think it was off the Southend head. Barham jumps, Tolaj picks it up, bounces awkwardly, feeds Barham. Barham down the line to Stokes. Left-hand channel, he'll have one to beat at least. He's got the ball, he's going to the edge of the area. Be greedy, Josh. Shoots, deflected behind, corner to shots. And I'm going to hazard a bit of a guess, Steve, on the angle that I don't think it was on target.
No, I don't think it was, but I think that's not a bad outcome considering Southend have started this second half well. Couple of corners, bit of pressure. Now Aldershot Town have taken it in the blink of an eye from the High Street end right up to the East Bank end, and now they'll get to put in a corner themselves. Good
noise from the East Bank end. Plenty of drum in too, Elvis, who's listening in Southend. Got his dates mixed up, I think. Corner comes in to the near post, headed up in the air. Comes down, drops loose. Southend have got it inside the penalty area. Now they should get away with it as well. I think it's Bridge who's on the ball back there, is it? Forward up towards halfway. Aaron Jones heads it. No chance, takes no chances, heads it into touch. He's smiling at something at Widrington. I don't know what it is. Maybe Widrington called for him to head it to touch. I don't know, but he didn't like the way Southend were positioned to maybe take advantage. Very animated on the side, Widrington always. Cardwell with the flick on from the throw. Harry's composed, touches it down to Harfield. Harry Ottaway, come on down. Ebbsfleet 0, Dorking Wanderers 1, and the Wanderers on target is Stokes into the area. He's gone down, he's got up again. Appeals for a penalty, he's got up again, he's still got the ball. Fair play to him. It gives it back to Frost. Frost now back to Glover. Glover with the back heel into the path of Frost. Will Frost, he's running into the heart of the area now, tries a shot. That's cannon back off the Southend player, it'll come back to Frost. He touches it to Stokes. Stokes tries to, oh, good effort. Really got a low skidder away, but it was always going to be a straightforward save for David Martin. But shot on target from Josh Stokes. Southend players down inside the penalty area, and it remains Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 0. Here's Steve Gibbs.
Yeah, good play from Josh Stokes there. Winning the ball, having to use his body as he does. Young, not the biggest player, but uses his strength well, uses his body well. Picked himself up, kept the move going, and then had a shot. A little bit easy for Martin for me. I think I'd have liked to see him either take another touch, open his body and gone across goal, or try and get a bit of air under the ball and rising towards the top corner. But nonetheless, good play from Stokes. And now Southend have got a player who I think he might have been caught somewhere unfortunate from that shot from Tyler Frost's cross. So he's now limping rather awkwardly, but hopefully nothing more.
And this is the problem for Southend. They don't want the sympathy, they don't want charity, I know that. But it's so difficult for these players playing Saturday, Tuesday, but here they come again. Out to the left-hand side, Bridge, one-on-one against Aaron Jones. Can he get the cross in? It does come in, it's cleared away by Harfield, sorry. Only as far as Cav Miley. Southend aren't going anywhere, they're not laying down for anybody. 57th minute, another cross into the area. Oh, Haji Minoga slices an attempted clearance, and Jordi van Stappershoef dives away to his left and saves it to spare Minoga's blushes. Scored at the other end against Boreham Wood on Saturday, very nearly scored in his own goal there, Steve Gibbs.
Yeah, that was a rare moment of lapse of concentration from Haji Minoga, but fortunately the concentration was exactly what Jordi van Stappershoef had, and he had to react really quickly to parry that one behind. Another corner though for Southend.
Taken left-footed into the heart of the area, headed away by Aaron Jones, the skipper. That will find touch. And if you thought through tiredness, fatigue, Aldershot might get on top at this point, 1-0 up, it's still nervy out there for the shots, and oh, my goodness me, do they need a second if they're going to be sure of wrapping this one up, especially with only one clean sheet all season. Gus Scott Morris is going to take this throw. There's nobody really near to him. Now there is. Hissin comes back, 1-2, ball into the area. Widrington can't quite clear. Frost will. There's nobody forward for the shots. They've got every outfield player back. Stokes wandering up towards halfway now. I do dare say that Kwame Thomas might play a key part in the final 15-20 minutes of this game. Heavy touch from Cardwell, but he gets onto his own touch or pass, whatever it was intended to be. And now Bridge and Husin and Dimitri are involved in play over on the left-hand side. Clip ball over the top, looking for Cardwell. Takes it nicely on his chest. Plays it out to the left-hand side to Bridge. Bridge up against Minoga, along with Aaron Jones. They're both on yellow cards. York City 1, Barnet 2. Bridge, overlapping run from Dimitri, tries to get his cross in, cleared away by Harfield with his right foot, taken nicely under control by Glover, and then clipped out to the left side to Stokes, who doesn't touch it, leaves it to Barham, gets it back. Now Stokes, his decision making on the ball is so calm and so assured. Here's Harfield, clearing it down the line, and it will find touch. He was under pressure from 2 Southend United players. I don't know if they will run out of steam, but they don't seem to believe that they will, Southend United. There's no let up in their play. There are other 2 substitutes that they can use at some point today. Are Mauro Villette, what a nuisance he could be.
Yeah.
The non-league Messi, you referred to him earlier on, he might be on the night.
Yeah, whenever he plays
Dan
Aldershot
Mooney,
Town.
my goodness me, that's a scary thought, those two coming on, isn't it?
Yeah, Mauro, whenever he plays against Aldershot Town, he seems to turn it on a little bit. But yeah, Southend, whether they're playing on fumes, playing on adrenaline, playing on a sense of injustice, it's them against the world. Whatever they're using to fuel this performance, it's hugely impressive.
Absolutely. It's a bit more even than it was, but we're not going to change our stance on the fact that Southend were the better the team in the first half. I think it's been pretty even in the second. Would you say? I mean, we're now 15 minutes into the second half. A little bit more like probably the first 15-20 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, no, I think it has been more even, but
it counts for nothing, these things, do they? Possession doesn't, territory doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's
absolutely.
all about what happens at both ends.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Southend are still, that Aldershot Town, if whatever the result this evening, when they come off the pitch, they know they will have been in a very, very difficult game.
Good win in the air from Theo Widgerton, flicked on by Stokes, only as far as Kensdale. He'll send it back up in the air, looking for Cardwell. Good win by Minoga, and then it's a bouncing ball, difficult for Aaron Jones to take, but he will find a combination of Stokes and Jones, and now Aldershot got it in a bit of space. Oh, that's a good ball from Theo Widrington to find Frost, who's one-on-one against Kensdale. Comes in, will he have a shot? Tries to pass into the box. Oh, 2 players coming in, Tollage and Barham, and they were both so close to it, but they couldn't find it. Southend come away, and oh, big opportunity there for shots, and I think both players made the same run, but that doubled the chances of Frost finding them, but he still couldn't find either of them. Here's Southend coming down the line, trying to get the cross into the far post. It's over everybody, agonising for Southend. Frost back there, finds it, plays it on the floor up to Tollage. Tries to do a smart turn immediately against Taylor, can't get away from it. Tollage being beckoned on by Widrington. This game is still so alive. 61 and a half minutes gone. Storming run into the area, edge of the area. Are they going to try a shot here? Here's Wood. Good tackle from Glover. Very good work from Glover. Finds Jones. Jones up towards Stokes. Oh, the foul's given against Stokes. I think the referee's right. I think he's had a pretty good game. Free kick to Southend United. Nearly called him Sheffield United. That would have been a compliment other than this week, of course. Jill Wattram says Baz, Jill and Alfie in Sheffield are watching. Come on the shots. More defending for the shots to do in the 63rd minute here. Shots 1, Shrimpers 0, but Southend knocking on the door, huffing and puffing. Here's Gus Scott Morris. Can he get his cross in? In it comes. Cleared away by Harfield towards touch. It's brilliantly kept in by Tyler Frost. Brilliantly done. Header inside from Kensdale. I don't think he really knew a lot about that, but it has gone to Demetriou. We're going to see Kwame Thomas very shortly. We're going to update our radio listeners now. Yes, 62 and a half minutes gone. The Shots still lead by a goal to nil, but Southend are going nowhere, Connor. Here they come again down the left-hand side, and Glover does well to get first onto that one. They're so competitive, and at the moment there's no sign of them running out of energy. Here they come again to the edge of the box. Shot is over the bar, but Aldershot Town are up against it, and if they can hang on and win this, or maybe nick a second goal to give themselves a buffer, it will be one hell of an achievement, because Southend have been superb tonight, Connor, but Aldershot still lead 1-0 thanks to that 45th minute blistering 28-yard shot from Laurent Tollage. in the 64th minute. Goal kick to the shots. Kwame Thomas is going to come on. I wonder if Tolaj will come off tonight. Yeah, so Tolaj tends to start every game, but he's often the one taken off. And I like the three-way rotation that Widrington's doing with those boys. Kwame Thomas still waiting for his first goal in a shot shirt. He'll undoubtedly give Aldershot a bit of a focal point, a bit of steel up top, relieve the pressure, but my goodness me, wouldn't he love his first shot goal?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would go down very well amongst everybody. I think it hasn't quite happened for Kwame yet in a red and blue shirt, but yeah, the perfect time tonight to get his first goal and give Aldershot Town that buffer that you referred to.
Well, Graham Whitehead said he grew up in Southend and he was a young boy at Roots Hall in the 50s. I think he means the 1950s. I didn't realise you were that old, Graham. I'm now 80% shots, 20% shrimpers. Come on the shots. So a 4-1 win for shots then for you, Graham? Through the middle, Southend. Great take by Wood. Shove from Harfield. And he's allowed to get away with that. I think that's a prime example of what used to be a foul and isn't anymore. There's a good take from Thomas on his chest. Comes away with it and feeds Josh Stokes. Brilliant defending from Harfield. If you concur that that was legal. If you were Southend, you might have thought you wanted a relatively soft or cheap penalty there. At RobShot66, Southend fans watching, if you want to interact. Ball over the top, too straight. Stokes can't get on it. He holds his hand up to applaud it. 65 minutes gone. I do really want to come to you, Steve, but I can't. It's non-stop. Ball down the... Now I can. It's going to creep out of play. Goal kick to the shot. 65 minutes gone. 1-0. Over to you.
I think shoulder to shoulder, a good strong shoulder challenge from Ollie Harfield, but for me the challenge didn't go below the shoulder. And at it's at that point where you start putting yourself in danger of having a decision given against you. But while it's all shoulder, I think the referee was quite right to let play on there, and that was excellent defending from Ollie Harfield. Wood seemed to be in prime position. The ball was on his right foot to get a shot away, but Harfield did superbly well, and legally for me as well.
Okay, thanks for your opinion. I just want to say a word for referees. Dale Baines on Saturday at Boreham Wood and David McNamara tonight. You've restored my faith in referees who referee football for the love of football and show a little bit of understanding of football.
Yeah. Two
of the previous three referees were on a different planet, a different stratosphere, and totally at odds with the game and with, for both sides. I'm not even, making a moot appeal for, what's unfair for one side or the other. 7 nights ago, the referee at Barnet against Aldershot was appalling. I'm not going to call him out by name. You can look him up if you want to. But here is Southend in possession in the middle of the park with Coker. He finds Bridge. Bridge finds Demetriou. Demetriou to the edge of the area into Wood. Sharp turn from him. And then Minoga positions himself really well, get his body in the way, and then draws the foul from Jack Wood. We haven't seen a lot of Jack Wood, not against Aldershot anyway, but he was prolific in pre-season and he's bulldozed his way into the Southend side and obviously taken advantage of injuries to Callum Powell and the like. But yeah, he's certainly a threat, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's a different sort of player to Callum Powell, who started the game. Powell's more direct, a good composed finisher, but Wood's really a winger who's been converted into a striker, and he's tricky, he's got quick feet, and he certainly made an impact here alongside Cardwell.
Aldershot get a free kick, and I don't, there's a sort of ironic applause, and I don't think it's particularly because of refereeing decisions. I think it's because Aldershot just get a bit of respite. Free kick in the Southend half, because a lot, I know I said this at Boreham Wood at a similar kind of point on Saturday, but if they're going to be up against it, this is a long time for Aldershot Town to go to not concede a goal. Ball into the area. Minoga's up, header down, back heel, very cleverly cleared away by Miley, and then headed into the path of another Southend player. Heavy touch from Wood, holds it up now. Harfield manages to poke it into touch, and it will be a throw in to Southend, just inside the Aldershot Town half. So Thomas is on for Tolaj. We'll look at the other shot substitutes in a minute. Here comes Kean Harris, just getting to the ball in front of Wood. and Wood gets there and in front of him and pokes it into touch. The shots, other substitutes, Jack Bycroft, the keeper obviously, Kobe Rue, Ethan Burnett and Tommy Willard. Fantastic, decent crowd, 2,281 for a midweek game, and 435 Southend fans, and that draws very generous applause from the North Stand faithful in and around us. Stokes helps the ball on from the throw, but there's nobody up there, and it'll go all the way through to Demetriou. A little bit like when Aldershot led 1-0 against Gateshead, and Gateshead had been so good. You were gutted when Gateshead equalised so late on, but you couldn't deny they deserved a point. And if Southend were to do that, it would be a similar feeling, wouldn't it? They've not been as dominant as Gateshead, but they have been good. And they've just been good. 11 men in a football match. Forget all the other circumstances. I'm not patronising Southend at all. Just a very, very good, lively, cohesive away performance.
There's no caveats. There's no in the circumstances. There's no, well, their minds must be elsewhere. It's just been a good, strong away performance that I would say at the moment you could put a very good argument for deserving a point.
Absolutely. Heavy touch from Kwame Thomas. He acknowledges that. It goes into touch in front of one of the 4 sections of the South Stand, the furthest to the left as we look, which is where some of the Southend supporters are. 435 on a Tuesday night. Well, some people may be thinking of giving up on that football club, but not any of those 435, and none of those playing in yellow out there this evening who've done their side proud. I think we're going to see Ethan Burnett in action. Probably, I hazard a guess, for a substitute for Theo Widrington, I guess, in the centre of midfield. We'll wait and see. Here comes Southend again. They're not going to go away. We're in the 71st minute. Jack Bridge on the ball to the edge of the area, plays it out wide to Hussein. Hussein with the cross in, headed away by Minoga. Only going to find Coker on the edge of the box. Coker sends it out to the left-hand side to Hussein again. Ball inside to Bridge. Is Bridge going to try and make room for a shot? Good work from Glover to win the ball. Widrington pokes it into the path of Frost, but it's been nicked back again by Coker. And Gus Scott Morris plays it inside. Coker to the edge of the area, feints a shot, then he shoots, blocked. Headed away by Widrington. It's going to go straight to Cav Miley. Aldershot are hanging on here. In it comes again. Harfield clears it away. Headed back down the line from Southend. They're keeping possession almost effortlessly. Aldershot are huffing and puffing and trying to get the ball back. Widrington's going to bring on Burnett for someone in the next few minutes. We're halfway through the 72nd minute. Still shots 1, Shrimpers 0. Kensdale wanders over halfway. In possession and territory, Southend are in control of this one. In the scoreline, Aldershot have the edge. There's good work from Glover to cut the ball out, and then in the quick 1-2s, they're giving the ball away again. And this is a problem for Aldershot right now. When they win it, they're not keeping it. Bridge out left to Demetriou, down the line. They're picking their passes too easily. Hussein cuts in on the right foot. Heavy pass goes through. And Aldershot, I don't know what else to say. I sound like a broken record, Steve. You say something different. 28 minutes left plus added time.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Aldershot Town are their own worst enemy at the moment. When they're getting the ball, they're not keeping control of it. They're not putting their foot on it. A couple of times Theo Widrington had chance to properly clear it, but he just gave it back to Southend.
Here's Stokes picking the ball up. Terrible touch from Barham, and it gives it straight back to Southend United. Maidenhead 0, Altrincham 1. Christopher Clark, who is not the top scorer in the division, but he's had the most shots according to the stats that Steve Gibbs gave me at half-time. Lauren Tullage 4th in that list. Bridge on the left, inside. Are they going to shoot? Coker, good stop. Followed up by Cardwell, poked in, 1-1. Good, powerful shot. Jordi van Stapelschuf couldn't hold it. Cardwell was on hand to poke it home. I think that's his 7th goal of the season. Southend are level, deservedly so. 73 minutes gone.
Yeah, Southend deserve it, both in the last couple of minutes and overall. It's just unfortunate. You thought that Jordi was able to keep hold of it, but it just squirmed out of his grasp enough for Cardwell to pounce. He's not really had much of a sniffed by his own standards this evening as Harry Cardwell, but he could well have. He certainly got Southend back in this game. Whether they then push on to get a winner or maintain a draw, but he certainly got themselves back into it, and it's just reward for their endeavours. And now immediately, Tommy has made that change, and it's Theo Widrington who's come off, and Ethan Burnett's come on in central midfield.
As we thought it might be. Widrington not played a lot of football, somehow got through the 90 on Saturday, and he got through 73 today. Well, we're back underway, but Southend still with the initiative, and they've got a goal to show for it now, and nobody can deny that they deserve it. Quite how they are busting around with more energy than Aldershot at this stage, Steve, I don't know whether it's that extra spirit and determination they've got from the situation, but you can't
I dare say they're
them.
Also fueled by the 436 fans who are, at the moment, making far more of a racket than the 1,800 Aldershot Town fans.
Shots 1, Southend 1, and Aldershot yet again at home, but staying in the game, getting the lead, but not being able to hold on to it. Another ball into the area. Cardwell tries a shot, comes off of Minoga, goes behind. It'll be another corner, and Harry Cardwell's in the form of his life, particularly at this level of football. He's only 2 now behind Dinanga and Kabamba, although they may have scored tonight. I haven't looked. We're in the almost through the 75th minute, and it's the Southend United fans you can hear. Corner comes in, headed towards goal, back off the post, off the bar, sorry, cleared away, comes back in again, and Southend have been denied by the crossbar, Steve. Heaven knows who it was that put it on target. Perhaps you can have a guess.
I'm really not sure. I'm trying to listen to our BBC Essex colleagues. Gus Scott Morris.
Yeah.
I've been told, or it was a very rude gesture from the BBC Essex commentator, but I'm assuming he was signalling the number 2 in a yellow shirt, and I think Van Stappenshire have got something on that partial redemption.
Aldershot at the other end with Barham playing the ball out to the right side to Kwame Thomas, and Aldershot electing just to have a little bit of a feel for the ball in possession inside to Burnett. Burnett back to Jones, I think it is. He clips the ball over to the left and finds Kean Harris. Well, we said it a number of times, Aldershot were perhaps a bit fortunate to be ahead in this one. Well, they're not anymore. What have they got in terms of a response themselves? They were hanging on at 1-0. Now it's 1-1. Here's Kwame Thomas trying to hold it up, but it's been won by Southend. Great skills over there on the far side, and then Kwame Thomas puts his foot through it and wins the ball. Jack Wood can't keep it in play, and he's going to give the Southend player a yellow card here, and then he helps him to his feet, and it's Noor Hussein. I think he's been shown yellow, whether it's something he said, some sort of dissent.
I think so, because I think he'd been fouled. I think it was a heavy challenge that he'd succumbed to. That's what put him on the floor, and clearly from on the floor he'd said something untowards to the referee, which
the referee has been
does
instructed.
Strike me as insult to injury.
He's been instructed by his bosses that that's a yellow card, whatever it was. He showed no malice, helped Hussein to his feet. Well, 1-1 here. Can either of these sides go again and find a winner? We're in the 77th minute. Here's Harfield. The shots were hanging on at 1-1. Here's Harfield going for the 1-2 with Frost, but it's well read by Harry Taylor. Clears it forward. Harris heads it into the path of Burnett, who goes back to Van Stappenshire, who still cannot get a clean sheet for Aldershot Town. And I don't know, I'd probably want another look at that to say whether he should have done better. There was definitely a bit of fizz on the shot from Coker.
Yeah,
and obviously
it was well
defenders could have done better as well, because strikers often, react quicker in those situations.
Yeah, it was well struck. And I think that's what makes it so frustrating, that initially it looked like he'd held on to it.
Yeah, Kwame Thomas is going to pick a ball up here on the left flank. In fact, he's going to let it run into touch for a throw. Stick or twist for Tommy Widrington and Aldershot Town here. 1-1 and been outplayed for much of the game by Southend. Here's Glover on the edge of the box. Looks for a 1-2. It doesn't come off, but Stokes does well to battle back and win the loose ball. Burnett goes back to Harfield. Harfield with the back heel to buy himself a bit of space into Frost. Back to Harris. Harry tries another through ball, but that's too strong for Stokes. And, Tommy Willard's done a few warm-ups. He stood up and he's desperate to get on. Script would be written for somebody like him to come in, and get a goal. You wonder if he might just get 5 or 10 minutes maybe for Barham, we'll see. But here comes Southend again with that man Coker. Scott Morris cuts inside and he's gone past Frost. Frost battling away. Scott Morris squares it. It's half cleared. Come out to Coker on the edge of the area. He's impressed me this evening. Here's Hussein on the edge of the area. Will he try and make room for a shot on his right foot? He's trying to. Then he comes back on his left. Still not created anything, but he goes left to Demetriou. He's on the edge of the area. Creeps forward. Pulls it back to Bridge. Can Bridge keep it in? Yes, he can. Keeps control of the ball. Comes in from the byline. 79 minutes almost up. Southend on the edge of the area with Cardwell. Turns, shoots, and that one is saved by Van Stappershoef relatively comfortably. Just takes the fizz off it as well, which means it stays within his grasp as Southend were trying to get onto it. Glover tries a 1-2 there, but again, Aldershot guilty of winning the ball back and giving it away far too easily. And Widrington's almost apoplectic on the sidelines because of that.
Yeah, it was over-ambitious from Ryan Glover. You could see immediately it was overhit. Jack Barham was always going to chase it, but he had no chance of reaching that ball. And yeah, Aldershot Town needs somebody to put their foot on the ball, just take the sting out of this game and take the momentum out of Southend's play, because at the moment they're the team most likely to score next.
Thomas, Harfield's ball forward is unusually not accurate and goes straight to a Southend player, but their clearance is a long ball forward. It's going to go all the way through to Harries. Harries back to Burnett, who gives it now to Harfield. Harfield will put his foot on it and go back to the cries of forward again. Come from the north stand in front of us. Shots 1, Southend 1. Few other goals flying in the National League. But let's keep our focused on this one just for now. Shots are giving it away again. It's almost like they just don't know what to do with it when they get it. Here's Cardwell out to the left-hand side to Jack Bridge. And they come forward with Hussein to the edge of the box. They should be able to pull the ball back here. Again, really good work to put it into touch from Aaron Jones. The shots have got to defend another corner. Steve, a while ago we said that if Southend got back in and got themselves a point, it'd be well deserved. We now have to say, with 10 minutes left, if they were to get a winner, that would be deserved as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely. They've kept lifting the game even after the equaliser.
Corner comes in, headed away by Kwame Thomas. Sorry, I went to you. There wasn't much time. Here's Barham. Has he got the ball? Yes, he has. Plays it down the line to Stokes. Can Stokes carry it 1-on-1? Oh, Southend get a key touch. Stokes does well, though. He's got it back under control. Slips again and loses it for a second time, and then it goes into touch, and it'll be a throw-in to Aldershot. But there's nervous tension around this ground, right around this ground, amongst both sets of supporters. Both will say that there's cases that their team could go on and win this.
And I think those nerves are being seen in Aldershot Town's play. They do need a calm head at the moment to literally and metaphorically put their foot on the ball and just retain possession for a little bit.
Good ball from Harries to Harfield on the left side. Plays the ball up to Frost, but Harry Taylor's mentally and physically sharper there and just gets in front of Frost, reads the pass. Now Coker with the ball into Wood, holds it up, comes inside. Aldershot have won it back through a combination of Burnett and Harfield. Oh, that's terrible misunderstanding. Frost gives it straight to Cardwell. Good tackle from Haji Minoga, and he had to time that well, and Aldershot win it back, and together they recover from that situation. Here's Harfield. He's going to go back to Harries. Aldershot, for some reason, just devoid of ideas. Here's Minoga in the middle. He shouldn't take on players there. He has done, and he's lost it, and Cardwell's got it. Finds Wood. Wood's into the area. He's going to try a shot. Comes in, it's saved, and then dropped by Geordie Stappershoef. Van Stappershoef was nobody near him. My goodness me, Aldershot are living dangerously here. Widrington's not happy. Willard will come on at some point, but here's Glover at the other end. We're in the 83rd minute. It's coming across the pitch on the edge of the area. Tries a little ball into the feet of Barham. Barham out to Thomas. Thomas shot, parried away, followed up, and it's snaffled by Martin. Thomas with a shot on target. Aldershot's second shot on target in the second half. The only other one from Stokes, and it remains 1-1. Steve Gibbs.
Yeah, it was a good effort from Kwame Thomas, but I think that was key, that there was no Aldershot Town player following up. As we saw Harry Cardwell for the equaliser, he was there anticipating the mistake from the goalkeeper. I don't think Aldershot Town had the nous or the cohesion to get somebody anticipating the equal mistake from Martin, and now here comes Southend again.
Yeah, Cardwell, pivotal, always a focal point, always available. Feeds Coker. Coker feeds Scott Morris. Scott Morris with the ball in. Harfield clears it, and then Frost clears it further. Can Stokes hold it up and just find a simple pass? He does, to find Stokes. Stokes' energy levels are all right. Oh, Miley late on Stokes. Definitely a free kick. Referee thinking. Will he go to his pocket for a yellow card? No. Gives a little warning, I think, in the ear of Miley. Frost is up and he's okay. I think we are finally going to see Tommy Willard. I don't know whether it's right now or not. He's been stood up, warmed up and waiting to come on for a good 10 minutes now. A quick look at those other scores. York City 2, Barnet 4. Filed with a late equaliser against Boreham Wood. Ebbsfleet, oh no, they haven't. It's been disallowed. Beg your pardon. Gateshead 3-0 up at Oxford City. Ball forward from the shots. Barham will chase. Not going to get it. Out of play. Goal kick. And Widrington not a happy man. Goal kick to Southend. What's the referee saying here, and to who? Oh, just hold. Telling the goalkeeper to hold it because there's going to be a substitution. Josh Stokes' evening is done. He's going to be spared the last 5 minutes plus added time. No goals tonight for Stokes, but involved in a lot again going forward for the shots. Willard on, and the script is written for you, Tommy.
It is, but at the moment it's the Aldershot Town defence that have the most pressure upon them. That I think Aldershot Town at the moment, with that 5 minutes plus stoppage time to be added on, I think if you'd offer Aldershot Town a point now.
Well, not for 1 minute have Southend United looked fatigued.
No.
Not for 1 minute. They might not have had a gear on Saturday once they got level, but they've definitely got another gear at least here at Aldershot this evening. Down the outside, and it's offside against Nur Hussein. It'll be a free kick to Aldershot Town. I mean, Aldershot's best hope of getting a late winner, Steve, is the fact that they are determined, they never give up and they keep going. Tactically and quality-wise, it doesn't look as if it's coming, but they will keep plugging away.
They will, absolutely, yeah. I think this team, and it's credit to this team, they do only
flick
go
on
one
from
way.
Thomas. Barham picks it up inside the penalty area. Twists and turns, and he's eventually outwitted. Now he needs to be careful he doesn't give a free kick away. Southend clear forward. It's a good ball and it's well held up by Jack Wood. Wood holds it up, plays it backwards to Bridge, who's behind him. But again, Southend have got it. They've got it under control and they look for the man in space, and that man is Ollie Coker. Coker finds Scott Morris in space. Ball down the line, and it's too easy for Wood to get back onto it. Burnett shepherded in. Wood coming back down the line. Scott Morris goes inside and he gets away from Frost quite easily. Ball pulled back. Cardwell's got it. We'll try and make room from a shot. It's a tight angle. He may have to go back out to Scott Morris. Can he get a cross in? He clips it back to Coker. I'm pretty sure Coker will try. No, he doesn't try and get a cross in either. They just play it through Miley. They're so confident in possession, Southend. As confident as any team I've seen other than Gateshead. Ball round the corner. Held up by Wood. Wood goes back to Miley. You have to think that if anyone's going to score a late winner here, it's going to be Southend. Wood, ball inside. Frost, good work to win it with the tackle. And then a blatant tug from Scott Morris, who's going to get a yellow card. We'll update our radio listeners shortly. I've now got Harry Taylor, Noor Hussein and Gus Scott Morris all on yellow cards. Gus Scott Morris was shown red the other week, but it was rescinded because it was a mistaken identity.
No, he did serve the 2-match ban.
Oh.
He did serve the 2-match ban, even though it was recognised that it was mistaken identity.
Well, what's the point of admitting that then? That's bizarre. That's bonkers.
Yeah.
That's absolutely bonkers. Harris with the ball forward, easily won in the air by Taylor. Flicked on by Carbell, and it's a good flick, but Harfield is there again, reads it well. Van Stappershoef clears up towards halfway, and it's players in yellow shirts that are going to get there first. Demetriou plays it back to Martin. Martin clears forward. two shot strikers decide to chase down. Header one, Barham battling away with Taylor, but he finds Gus Scott Morris. His ball forward is cut out by Minoga, but Southend have won it again. It's headed by Wood into the path of Hussein. He's got Bridge on the outside left of him, but that is a poor ball. Aaron Jones can let it run behind, and he does, and it's a goal kick to Aldershot. 88.5 minutes gone here. Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 1. Oxford City 0, Gateshead 4. Aldershot breaking through, or so it seems, but Harry Taylor's read it well. Heavy touch. Barham puts his foot, I thought, on the ball, but referee David McNamara, who's been pretty good all night, we're given the benefit of the doubt, he gives a free kick. Barham better be not too long with his appeal, because if you prolong it, it'll go a second time. The yellow card comes out. Free kick in their area to Southend United. David Martin to take. I don't even know if we've told our radio listeners about Southend's equaliser yet. It feels like it's so long since they've come to us, but we'll start with that, I think. When they come to us, here's the goal kick, free kick, whichever you like. Oh, it's a free kick by Martin, flicked on again by Cardwell. Minoga wins the next one, but he can only head it forwards. Now he's competing in the air and wins the next one. Burnett hooks it forward, held up by Willard. Willard back to Kean Harries. It's poked out of him by Miley. Miley goes back to Van Stappershoef, who calmly receives the ball and gives it back to Harfield. Harfield lifts it towards Thomas. Thomas jumps and gets the win into the path of Barham. Barham not sure what he's doing. He flicked it up in the air, and then Southend will... Wow, we're only going to get 4 added minutes. That's the least I've seen all season, Steve.
I think Tommy Widrington just looked at his watch and shook his head thinking, I'm not sure where that's come from, but I'm glad about it.
We're going to have a very quick wrap up at the end of this one tonight. And Geordie Van Stappershoef has been given the Aldershot Town man of the match. We'll get Steve Gibbs in the next few minutes. Cardwell smashes Harries out the way to win the ball. No foul given. Inside from Coker. Now Hussein into just 4 minutes of added time, and Southend pushing for a winner here. And you wouldn't put it past them. They pick it up now, played the ball inside, edge of the area. Pushing, probing, movement off the ball. Bridge is going to try a shot from distance. I think it might have hit Cardwell. It's cleared away by Minoga up towards Barham. And there's 4 added minutes.
Yeah, no, it hit Kean Harris, number 4.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. It hit Harris, beg your pardon, yeah. Thanks, Steve. Matches ending everywhere else. Wealdstone 1, Woking 0. Halifax 0, Dagenham or Edbridge 0. York 2, Barnet 4. Hartlepool 0, Solihull 2. Ebbsfleet 0, Dorking Wanderers 1. What a win for the Wanderers. Decimated, as to be fair, are Ebbsfleet. But yet again, they come out on top of Ebbsfleet, as they did in the National League South playoff final some 18 months ago. Here's Southend, who are still pushing for a late winner. Jack Bridge on the ball in the centre of the pitch on this occasion. Finds Coker. Widrington hopping mad on the line. And again, Southend, ball down the line, comes back to Hussein. Hussein looking for Scott Morris. They won't give up. Cross comes in to the far post, and taking no chances is Aaron Jones. He heads it behind for a corner. Hang on, Steve, please. No, you haven't come to us for so long. In the 73rd minute, Southend equalised, and it was a Coker shot parried by Geordie Van Stappershoef, followed up by Cardwell. And ever since that time, Southend have been pushing for a winner. They've got a corner now. In comes the ball. It's headed away initially by an Aldershot player, and they should get on to clear it for full. If anyone's going to get a late winner, surely it's Southend, but there's only 2 added minutes left of the minimum of 4 added. 4! Who'd imagine that? The lowest all season, just 4 added minutes. 2 of them left. Come back to us one last time if you can. As Aldershot give the ball away, Cardwell approaching the edge of the area, and it's cut out by Aldershot. 1-1. Aldershot breaking down the right-hand side now with Willard. He looks to go past the player. He's lost it and he's won it back. Plays it inside to Aaron Jones. Jones has got Burnett ahead of him. Harfield now on the left-hand side. Harfield inside. Can Aldershot find one last chance? Burnett with the ball in. It's just poor. Just goes across everybody. and it'll be picked up by Demetrio on the far side, and Aldershot, who've barely had a sniff in these last 20 minutes, just running out of ideas when they do get forward. And a goal worthy of winning any football match from Laurent Tallage. Looks like it's going to secure a point at most for the Shots. We are in the final minute of the 4 added minutes. 30 seconds to go plus whatever referee David McNamara decides to add on. Burnett puts his foot through it, and that's the most inventive thing Aldershot can do. It'll be picked up by Demetriou, and he goes back to Martin. Willard chases him, but they just play rings round him, and Miley picks it up. Widringham is still hopping mad with his team, who just can't get any semblance of control. There's a good win from Aaron Jones, finds Burnett. There is the final whistle. It ends Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 1, and in truth that's the most Aldershot Town deserve. A quite brilliant performance of energy, desire, cohesion and togetherness from Southend United, who will leave the EBB Stadium with a very well earned and much deserved point. Final score here, Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 1. Final wrap up from you, Steve, with please an Aldershot Town man of the match.
Yeah, it's similar emotions to a couple of weeks ago, the game against Gateshead. Aldershot Town at home have only drawn, but you get the impression that that is more than they deserve, that the opposition have come here and dominated the game, had more ideas and creativity and energy and nous, and at times more players on the pitch, but the Shots' defensive resilience has just about held out again, and they can take a point. But all credit, huge credit, with no caveats once again.
No,
not
exactly.
Looking off the pitch, purely on the pitch. Huge credit to Southend with the limited resources, the meagre resources they're operating with. That was a quite astounding performance of energy and commitment and resourcefulness, and it probably deserves more than a point, but that's also credit to Aldershot Town for their renewed defensive resilience and their spirit and quality at home.
Okay,
But
so your Shots man of the match, Steve, is?
I'm struggling. Ollie Harfield.
I would go Ollie Harfield.
Yeah,
I would
think
go Ollie Harfield. He's mentioned in dispatches every week. I think he was given the last home man of the match when probably he was one of a group of 3 or 4 who could have got it. But the official man of the match has gone to Jordi van Stappershoef. I mean, I'd acknowledge he made a couple of saves I'd have expected him to make, and one that he did make from Coker, but unfortunately parried it straight into the path of Cardwell, who finished. It's not his fault that Cardwell beat a defender to it, but he will probably feel that he might have pushed it wide or held onto it.
Yeah, I think that's the most frustrating thing, that it did look like he had held on and it just by a matter of inches squirmed clear. But yeah, if Southend can show the spirit here that they have tonight, then hopefully their next most important fixture on the 4th of October will end happily.
Thank you very much, Steve Gibbs. So BBC man of the match, Ollie Harfield. The team of the match, Southend United, and their 435 supporters. Fantastic effort from them. An acknowledgement has to be given for that. But a little bit like the game against Gateshead, Aldershot have not been the better side, and they get out of it with a point. Yeah, still on air. Got to do, I think, one final wrap up to radio. But thank you very much, Steve, for joining us again this evening. And Steve's going to get some post-match reaction from Tommy Widrington. Look out for that on BBC Surrey Twitter later on. Cam, you need to come to me ASAP. I've got to go. They've been the best team, we've acknowledged it all night, and so there is some credit there to Aldershot Town for sticking at it. It's the second home game like the one against Gateshead where they've been outplayed but they've got themselves a point. The frustration and the sadness is because in both those games Aldershot have had a lead for quite a long period and eventually succumbed to an equaliser. But the goals coming on 45 minutes from Laurent Tallage. In truth, it was fit enough to win any game of football, but it was in the end only enough to earn a point because of that Harry Cardwell equaliser in the 73rd minute. Final score from the EBB: Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 1. I believe producer Mel is coming along to this one. Yeah, so we'll see if we can get her on air for a few words. Her first EBB experience with Aldershot Town. I know she went to a game at Crawley, didn't she, the other week? So yeah, we look forward to welcoming Mel on Saturday, as well as Dagenham, and hopefully a good crowd here at the EBB. You'll see her before then, I bet. Cheers, Connor. Thanks, listeners, for tuning in around the country and around the world. We'll speak to you again here from the EBB on Saturday. Shots against Dagenham. Final score this evening: Aldershot Town 1, Southend United 1.